Yo.
How's it going?
Well, man. I just got a great book haul.
A great what?
I just ordered a bunch of books.
Oh, nice. Which
And I
ones?
got them.
Which ones?
Okay. Shimshon's Struggle, by the era, including includes book 2. The Era of the Shoftim.
Mm-hmm.
Pesel, I can't see, it's dark. Micha Pelegesh Gava, Rabbi Gershon Weiss,
Mm-hmm.
in collaboration with Ari Kaplan. And I also got Ma'am Loez, the Torah Anthology, the Book of Shoftim. Okay. And I got the Messianic Temple, written by Understanding Ezekiel's Prophecy,
Mm-hmm.
by Chaim Chlorfine.
Chaim who?
Chlorfine.
Interesting.
You heard of him?
No.
He's one of the gentlemen involved, like Rabbi David Katz, in the Ger Tzedek,
Mm-hmm.
Ger Toshav kind of situation. He wrote a book called The Path of the Righteous Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big hit with the Noahides, and then he wrote this. He wrote a bunch of books, and this is one of them. It's awesome. But it goes pasuk by pasuk, and then he shows you the dimensions, the schematics, the blueprints, and then an illustration of what it should look like.
Nice.
It seems to be, it's quite big.
You know what's crazy to me? Speaking of measurements and stuff. I spoke to a friend of mine who's steeped in the world of one of the things he's steeped in is archaeology. In particular, biblical archaeology. And in the world of biblical archaeology, you have people who will find something, right? And 3 or 4 different people will have 4 different opinions as to where this thing comes from, what era, what it represents, what it points to in the Tanakh, if it points to anything in the Tanakh, right? So this person comes from that field of study. And yet he can't, for the life of him, bring himself to maybe think about that there are people that don't agree with what's being peddled in the mainstream narrative of the you-know-what. He's now at least learning experientially that at the very least the people who are peddling the product may not have the greatest intention, which may point to the validity or veracity of the product itself. Maybe he's almost coming around to that. The only reason he hasn't is because he has that product inside of his bloodstream.
In other words, he couldn't believe that anybody could, using the Shmak steam, have any kind of ill intention.
He thinks that there's a nuanced side of it, meaning like there's something effective here, but people are using it for nefarious purposes. And I said, if it was effective, they wouldn't need to. They wouldn't need to do the things that they're doing. They wouldn't need to crap on treatments, for example. They wouldn't need to do anything. They would just say, all hands on deck. Okay, we have this. You can use that. If you want to use that, use that. If you want to use this, use this. And so, let's roll. But they're not doing that. And it's just, I've gotten to the point where and I told the guy straight up, I was like, listen, man, because he thinks I'm obsessed, whatever, this and that. I was like, listen, man, if you were a completely turned off individual and you didn't realize that, he's like the Ben Shapiro type. He realizes that the media is lying through its teeth when it comes to every other issue on God's green earth, except for here, he overlooks it.
That, you see, again, Ben Shapiro, I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
I say it isn't so. You know,
Well, Ben
say it
Shapiro
isn't
says
so
that
bad.
we don't, he also disagrees with these coercions and all these kind of things, mandates.
I know, but when he said that, he got it, his family got it, I was like, say it isn't so.
Because
Say it
he's
ain't
modern
so.
Orthodox, dude. They've all bought in. They've all bought in. You understand?
But he supposedly should know better, right?
He doesn't know better. They're modern Orthodox.
I don't know.
They're modern Orthodox. These people worship. They're Americans with a kippah on top. They worship. I don't know what they worship.
I don't know. I don't think that he's a modern Orthodox does it justice. I think he's clearly a person who knows how to analyze,
Yeah.
who knows how to think, and that's why, I think that this vaccine thing is a litmus test. I'm just not exactly sure what the test results say. Are they telling me that you can't trust this guy at all, or people who are who should know better, right? Are they in on it?
No.
Are they stupid?
No.
Are they being brainwashed? Are they being controlled by the ministering angels? I don't know what to think.
I think it's. I was just telling my business partner. I think that people have been massively psyoped. It's a psyop, And his sister took it, and she has a famous YouTube channel, Classically Abby or whatever. And she was saying
Whose sister?
Ben Shapiro's sister has a famous vlog on YouTube.
Stop it! He doesn't have a sister.
Of course he has.
Just kidding. I have no idea what
she's married.
Brothers.
So
Okay.
so because
But she's not married.
She was bragging about she was saying how happy she is that she's pregnant, and then she took the stuff, and then 2 months later she had a miscarriage. And you could say, well, we can't attribute it to that, and whatever it is, and
Yeah.
it's just
No comment.
whatever. Listen, I'm at the point
It's awful.
where I realize that this person, at least if he's waking up to the fact that there's something sinister going on with that it's a dangerous path society's on, maybe this guy needs to experience things firsthand. Whatever.
I think that I stopped trusting him when he started sticking up for what's his name? Who am I thinking about? Mr. The guy who's, he was a presidential candidate for the Republicans. He's so inconsequential, I forgot his name. Doesn't matter.
Ted Cruz?
No, not Ted
Marco
Cruz.
Rubio?
The guy nope, he was the candidate for the Republican candidate against Obama's second term.
Oh, McCain.
Not McCain.
Oh,
That was the
Obama's
first
second term? Oh, Romney.
Romney. Yes,
when
Mitch
was
Romney.
he sticking up for Romney?
Yeah,
I don't think he's.
You know what's weird? Like I couldn't remember his name because I'm looking at Gateway Pundit right now and it says developing Mitch McConnell in Private Talks with Schumer. So like the only Mitch to me can be Mitch McConnell at this point. But Mitch Romney, I just couldn't get it.
No, he's not Mitt.
Yeah,
he's
that
Mitt.
guy.
He's Mitt. Mitt, like mittens.
Mitch, tomato.
Well, it helps. But anyway, when did he defend Mitt
Potato,
Romney?
potato.
I don't remember him defending Mitt Romney. If anything, he was like Mitt Romney.
No, he was defending Mitt Romney all the way like to the end. He was he made friends with these guys. He made friends with establishment Republicans. Okay, and he was part of that crew. Okay, and I'm hoping that he's not anymore. But that's why. And so on top of being part of that crew, which we know are dirty, and then coming out in support of the Schmaxine, I can't trust this guy. First of all, I have trouble hearing him because I can't process words at the rate in which he delivers them.
You know what I do? I listen to him on 75% speed.
Seriously, what the hell, man? These guys can fast forward. It's like a little hummingbird.
What was I gonna say?
He's like an eternal yeshiva kid.
Yeah.
Like he'll never not look like a
Yeah.
like Mesivta, like a Mesivta kid.
Like a little boy. Looks like a little boy.
I mean, he's a youthful looking individual,
Yeah.
but he's like, what's his name? Like Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
And Scott Baio. And who was the other one? There's another one that's famous for looking really young, for mad long. What's his name? Remember Doogie Howser, MD?
Yes.
Remember his friend Vinny? He
Yeah.
also looked like one of those like youthful looking
Yeah.
olive skinned newcomers.
Huh. So, tell me about what we spoke. Okay, we spoke about, or I brought up something. By the way, I just want to let you know. This is connected, actually. This Hanukkah, like today, you could say today was the 10-year anniversary of my becoming, I guess, Shomer Shabbos, Shomer Mitzvot, officially.
Okay.
And since that time, I've been, from time to time, really thinking about and concerned about how am I going to raise my kids, and how is it going to be that my kids are not going to go, off the derech with their crazy, Baal Tshuva dad.
With that crazy rock and roll music and
Yeah, crazy Baal Tshuva dad who isn't really part of any system, doesn't wear any hat, doesn't know anything, doesn't want anything to do with like the classical Orthodox education, whatever system. How can I expect my kids to stay on the path? And
I just before I begin that. Oh, you didn't finish your question.
No. So my question is like, and you started telling me that I'm going to have to imbue them with the idea of, that there are these concepts, and then there's something happening in the spiritual realm, and that we are here to emulate that or work in parallel with that. And that's okay to me. I'm totally fine with that. The only thing is I'm concerned about whether or not my kids will... It's one thing if they're going to accept these ideas, and I think they will, and internalize them. It's quite another if they're going to... Sorry. If they're going to equate that with doing mitzvot.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
I've had it. I'm gonna start you off, okay? And before I do that, I'm gonna have to get my Kindle app going. Okay?
Start me off. What do you mean?
On the Kindle app, I have a book called Sha'ar HaPesukim, translated by no less than Rabbi Pinchas Winston. Mm-hmm. Sha'ar HaPesukim is a commentary on the Pesukim of the Torah by none other than the Ari. And he goes, as you go through that book and his other books too, you see how all of these concepts, the Sfirot, the Partsufim, they're all encoded in the text of Torah. Okay, so let me just find it really quick. So let us just start off the right way. One second. Stop yelling at me, okay? I can hear your thoughts. Come on, Kindle.
Yeah.
Stupid. All right, 1 second. Okay, Bereshit. Okay, so Bereshit, Siman 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay, so that is obviously Bereshit bara Elokim et Hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. So it has already been explained in Sefer HaZohar regarding the matter of the word Bereshit, that it is the letters Bet, Resh, Aleph, which means he created, and then Shin, Yud, Tav, which is 6, in Aramaic, of course, which is, by the way, interesting. This leads to an interesting discussion about the ancient nature of the Aramaic language and its connection to to the Torah itself. Okay? Because Tanakh has Aramaic in it as well, as I'm sure you're aware. Some of the dialogue between Yaakov and Lavan is in Aramaic, and then there's entire sections of Sefer Daniel that's in Aramaic. So it is Lashon HaKodesh. It has a certain level of holiness. And that is apparent straight from the beginning, from the first word of the Torah. Bereshit. He created 6. Okay? So I'll read that again. I just wanted to... It has already been explained in Sefer HaZohar regarding the matter of the word Bereshit, that it is the letters Bet, Resh, Aleph, which means he created, and then Shin, Yud, Tav, which means 6. Okay? And they said there that Bet, Resh, Aleph is half a statement. Okay? This is the matter. The 6 letters in the word Bereshit correspond to the 6 points of Zer Anpin. Okay, the 6. If you read the books of the Ari, he talks about the Vav Vav Ketzot, Ketzim. I can't remember what the Hebrew word was, but the 6 endpoints, 6 directions. Okay, of Zer Anpin. Zer Anpin is a partzuf which includes the sfirot of Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Chod, and Yesod. Okay, and it's explained that is our Zer Anpin, that expression of God, that partzuf, is our experience of God. Okay? So this is, one second. This is also alluded to by the word itself, since it can be divided in 2. Bet, Resh, Aleph, and Shin, Yud, Tav. Okay, meaning that the 6 points, that is, again, Zer Anpin, they were created because, as it is known, the main part of the Zer Anpin is only 6 points. Okay, so therefore, they say in Sefer HaZohar that the word Bereshit is the complete statement, meaning that it incorporates the entire partzuf of Zer Anpin, called the 6 points, because they are the 6 letters, Bet, Resh, Aleph, and Shin, Yud, Tav. By the way, his translation is a literal translation, meaning he stayed true to the actual text. He didn't translate it. When you're reading it in the English, it's not like an explanation or like a, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you can't translate directly from one language to another because you'll kind of you'll miss the main. You wouldn't describe one thing in Hebrew as you would in English. But you'd use different words and a different sentence structure, right? But what he did with this translation is it's a straightforward translation where he translated the words themselves, and you have to kind of put it together as you would in Hebrew. You understand what I'm saying? Do you really? Because it doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
You might be stupid. I don't know.
So how does this relate to
so hold on. So I'll get to that in a moment. I understand this is long-winded, but okay. So, now the word Bet, Resh, Aleph, right? He created is only half the statement. So this is the matter. When the partzuf of Zer hinted to in the word Bereshit is mentioned, it is divided into 2 until his chest. And this is called the level of Beria. So basically, when you're reading, you have to have a little bit of background in the books of the Ari. Like you could start with Otrot Chaim or Eitz Chaim, and he explains the whole structure, and then of the Sfirot and the Partzufim, and he shows you how it's encoded in the text of the Torah. So that's what we're doing right now. Okay. Now, this is a little bit, perhaps not the best book to do that, but I'm just trying to present the point that already straight from the beginning, he started with the first word Bereshit. We didn't even get past the first word, and it's already showing you how all of these ideas are already encoded in the first word of the Torah. Okay? So, and it goes on and on like that, and it gets more incredible. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So that's part of what you would do for your children, okay? Where you would explain to them all of these halachot that we're supposed to do, okay? They are really the behavior and the daily activities of the partzufim, Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we wash our hands, Hashem does the same thing on his level, whatever that means. We put on tefillin, Hashem puts on tefillin. We put on talit, Hashem puts on talit. We daven at a certain time, that's because Hashem is doing it. Everything that we do, all the holidays, even our relationship with our family and with our spouses, right, is all based on the activity of Hashem as he's behaving through the partsufim. Okay, so this will explain, first of all, to your kid, what are we doing in the first place? What are these rules? Like, why does God want us to do all this stuff? So first, you'd probably start by saying, look, this is the stuff that God's involved in. This is what he likes to do. If he wanted to go play miniature golf, we go play miniature golf. But in fact, if he doesn't want to play miniature golf, he wants to.
So what if? So can I pause you for a second? What if my kid is going to be like me? And I was very, as much as I was always, how should I put this? I was always a person who understood that something created us. Ever since I'm a kid. But at the same time, I always ask the questions, how do you know that that's what you're saying? How do I know that what you're saying is true? This is what God's doing. How the hell do I know that this is what God's doing? How do you know? Do you see him? Pixar, what is it? What do they say? Pixar didn't happen.
Okay, so for me, the way that the reason I think, or the reason I know that that's what God wants, is because it says so in the Torah. Next question is, why do I care what the Torah says? And I think we've gone through that already, because of its like divine nature. It's a document unlike anything that anybody can produce.
So this information that I'm going to be giving my kid, I have to give it at a point where my kid is, I don't want to use the word mature, where they are, and I know that sometimes we can say, well, don't underestimate your kid, and I'm not going to, but the kid has to be at an age, or at a point, let's say, it doesn't necessarily have to be age, a point in the kid's life where they can make these connections, where I'm gonna have to know my kid well enough to understand and to see, okay, this kid now has enough seichel and enough discernment and ability to connect the dots and connect the moving parts to understand what I'm telling him.
I don't think so.
What do you mean?
I don't think so. I think I can only say what I would do. So I think you can skip over that whole mentality and just go like this. This is what I'd like to do to my future kids. I'd be like, pick up that book. What is it? Moby Dick? What is it? Frankenstein? Sherlock Holmes? All right, pick it up. Begin reading. Okay. Explain to me the meaning of what, and they would explain to me. Okay. Whatever the words are there. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anything else? Can you derive any more meaning? Is there any more information that you can derive from the same words other than what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
And I just force them to try and see if they can glean or derive any more information aside from the plain meaning of the words. And they'll conclude, well, no, there's no more information. These are the definitions of these words, which were chosen arbitrarily to mean these things. They were put together in a sentence. They're delivering a message on one level, and that's what we're supposed to take. I'd be like, okay, very good.
Yeah.
Now, would it be interesting to you for there to be books which you read a sentence and it has the basic level, just like you read from the sentence in Sherlock Holmes, and then you look at it again and you see more information.
Can I throw a wrench in your operation? What you're saying?
You could.
Devil's advocate. No, devil's advocate.
No, you could, but you gotta let a brother.
Yeah.
You gotta let a player play.
Okay.
All right. Gotta let a brother talk. All right. So I'd be like, can you derive any more meaning from that? And then he would look, and then maybe he could, maybe you won't, and I'll show him. Look, there's another layer here.
Correct.
And then there's another layer here, and there's another layer. I'll keep showing him layers as far as I can. I could probably show him 10, 20 layers of the same pasuk, mathematically from every angle.
Correct.
Okay, so I want to introduce him to that concept. I'm not going to push his mind. I'm going to say, look, here's this and here's that. You have these two different types of things. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I noticed that when you show stuff like this to frum kids, they don't understand why that's cool because they don't read any other books. Okay? Yeah. They don't know. They don't understand that that's unusual. They don't understand that not every book has infinite layers of information encoded in it. So that's the primary thing I'm going to do. I'm not going to say all that. I'm going to
You're assuming that frum kids are even shown this stuff. A lot of them are not. Like a lot of modern Orthodox kids are not.
Even when they are, you know, I've seen them react weird.
Yeah.
I've tried to show like a couple of like.
What is the usual reaction?
One of the reactions was like, well, you know, most of the reactions are like, well, okay, so why is that? Okay, so that's, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Why is that special? They don't understand that other books don't have that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because they grew up with it.
That's the main problem. They think that that's just how stuff is. It's like, no, it's not. The Torah is different, you fool. Yeah. And some other kids are like, I shouldn't say kids. You know, they get a little freaked out and they're like, I don't like tricks. Don't show me tricks. I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't like tricks. Yeah. I'm like, tricks? People are weird. Yeah. They're either not mentally prepared to understand why that's amazing, or they get freaked out. Because perhaps they do know that
it lends itself to, snap. There's something other like the stuff that we're doing now
is real.
It's real, but it's also really out there. It's really from like outer space, or
it's from outer space,
or as
this world.
Aryeh Kaplan would say, inner space. Dum, dum, dum.
Inner space. It's look, our space as we know it is a projected reality.
Yeah.
From internal, meaning like it is projected out of our essence, collective essence of humanity.
Yeah.
The universe itself. Okay? So there is no such thing actually as space.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a projection of reality.
If you tell that to a Trekkie, they would smack you.
I would kick a Trekkie straight in the nuts really hard. Okay? Because I don't appreciate those conventions. And honestly, I connect Trekkies to like to the woke crowd, you know, to the social justice warrior, because they both create their own languages that they like, you know, like you have these idiots speaking Klingon to each other.
I had a roommate who was a Trekkie, and he's the same person who's like a Vaxadoodle.
Yeah, not a surprise.
And a chronic rule follower. Like if somebody made up a rule, stand on one, you know, like the Eddie Murphy thing, that stand on one leg and bark like a dog. Otherwise, you can't get a job. He'd do it.
Listen, what is Star Trek painting? What kind of future? Basically, totalitarian.
A totalitarian, it's sterile. You know, one guy says and everybody else does, and if he didn't say it, then you don't do it, or whatever he says, you do. Yeah.
Starfleet is communism.
Yeah.
Okay, it's idealized communism. Okay? I remember this one episode from Star Trek: Next Generation where they pick up this ship, and when they go inside the ship, it looks like a really, really old ship from the 20th century, and they have these you know, like refrigerated bodies, or like cryo chambers, right?
Yeah.
And these are people who froze themselves in the late 20th century, or early 21st century, I'm not sure. So one of the guys, so most of the people they can't unfreeze, but like 3 or 4 of them they can unfreeze.
Yeah.
One of them's a lady, the other guy's like some kind of Texas country music star, and the other guy's like some kind of rich billionaire, right?
Yeah.
So, and as they're walking around, they are treated with such contempt by the Starfleet crew, by the crew. They're like these, you know, they go out of their way to show how disgusting and horrible people we are, right? From the 20th century, and how we cause all the problems with our capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, ridiculous, fucking pathetic scum. I hate them. So I really do. No, they're moronic. They're absurd. They're embarrassing.
Yeah.
whole Hollywood crew, all that shit. It's just embarrassing.
So why
Anyway,
do you
but
why
back
do you
to
so
your
why
kids.
are you why do you like the character of Q? And
Because he pisses on them. If you watch that whole thing, he just constantly he'll show up like he can take any form he wants, right? So
Yeah.
he'll show up wearing the Starfleet uniform and the highest ranking, and they're looking at him like, you didn't earn that.
Yeah.
Like, he's just. I like how he can just play with them, and he's really nice to them.
It's
and
like-
he's very tolerant.
It's like
of
you
them.
didn't earn that.
Even though-
I piss on your institutions and your
Correct.
rank.
Correct. And he's trying to guide them, and he had a sense of humor. There's this one, they have the two main characters are, in that series is Captain Picard and his first officer, Riker. His name's Riker. Okay? And so he's like, whatever, like this tall guy, and he's like, one of these like Mr. He's a prefect. Okay, he's like one of these guys.
Mhm.
And in the early seasons, he didn't have a beard, and then all of a sudden, like he grows a beard, and then Q, he at the end of one of the episodes, he wanted to pay them back for something nice that they did him, right? So he snapped his fingers, and these two beautiful like women were were kind of just like holding on to his arms all of a sudden and like petting him, right?
Mhm.
right in the where the crew is steering the ship, right?
Yeah.
I forgot what they call it, the bridge, whatever. And then he's like, Q, get him away. And he goes, you weren't like this before the beard.
funny.
His face becomes all like, indignant. He's like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Anyway, he just pisses on them, and that's why I love him. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
So-
hate Starfleet.
So listen,
Everything about it.
we got into this whole thing. I just hate to change.
Because you're kids, so we're teaching your kids.
No,
okay?
the kids thing.
So-
but then we got onto what I got into was we got into this whole thing of like, to teach them that Hashem wants, the whole thing is predicated on or hinges upon that Hashem wants. You're gonna teach a kid that he's needed by Hashem.
That's
right?
part two.
Okay.
That's part two. You can't. So basically, I mean, you could start introducing that idea around the same time, but for somebody to really understand the profundity of that,
Yeah.
they'd have to get a little bit older. But first, they need to understand why they should study the Torah in the first place. Like, look at the stuff in the world. Here's these kind of books, and here's this kind of book. Look what this book has to offer.
Yeah.
Just one, surface information, and then you see, and every other book is just simple surface information.
Yeah.
But look at this book. There's nothing like it. Hold on one second. Yes. My what? We're back. Are we back?
Yes.
We are back. Okay. So, look at all these kind of regular books, and then look at this book. Make sure the kid understands the difference and what he is really looking at in front of him. And it's easy enough to prove that this book is from outer space. That it's not, not literally, but you know what I mean. It's not from this dimension. It's impossible that the person or whoever wrote this book, it could not have been written by anybody who was bound to time and space.
Yeah.
At least that's easy to prove. Okay?
Yeah.
So the kid will understand that if you put in the effort. That's not even like, it's not subjective. That is objective reality when you
Yeah.
study it.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the second thing is more personal, where you explain to him that God, there's a creator, created all this for a certain reason. Creator is perfect in his existence. He exists perfectly fine, not dependent on anybody or anything. And everything about him is perfect. He's Mr. Perfect. Everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Everything's gleaming.
Yeah.
However, it's not enough. Being perfect and not, and not having your existence dependent on anybody else is not enough for God.
Yeah.
It's not interesting for him. It's not enough for him. He's lonely, and he wants to share this perfection with an other. That's where you come into the picture,
Yeah.
little one.
Huh.
You are the other that he wants to share everything with. okay? And he wants to share with you certain things that he does every day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the activities of God. When you're going to daven, you're putting on talis, you're saying a bracha. This is what God is doing. He wants you to synchronize with him. He wants you to copy him, you know?
Yeah.
This is how we begin our relationship with God. We hang out with him, we do the stuff that he likes. If you wanted to go bowling, you'd go bowling. But he doesn't want to go bowling.
Yeah.
Not as far as I know. Maybe in the future he'll let us know that he likes bowling. But for the time being, no bowling. Okay?
Yeah.
So and then you'll show him how all of these behaviors, right, are literally, you show them how they're encoded in the Torah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how like Zeranpin does this at this time of the day, and Nukva does this on this time of the day, and you know, she lights the candles, and she feeds the child, and it's incredible when you go through. It's just unbelievable. Like it's very, very.
So now here's my question. I've met kids who have learned stuff like this. Not exact stuff, but learned certain profound things in the Torah, and they understand these things intellectually and also even spiritually. But at the same time,
I don't even know what that means.
Let's just,
doesn't matter. Continue.
Whatever. They understand these things. But it doesn't translate into the kid living their life according to, you know, it doesn't translate into them keeping mitzvot.
Because probably, I would assume, that they were not taught that God needs them. Almost nobody is taught that. Nobody has the balls to actually say that to a kid, except for, as hard as it is for me to say, Manis Friedman.
Yeah. Why is it hard for you to say that?
Because he pisses me off the other half of the time.
Why?
I don't want to get into it. You know, whatever. Let's focus on the positive.
Okay. I feel like he's very he's almost like too intellectual for a lot of frum people. A lot of frum people don't understand him at best, and at worst they think he's like a not koifer, but like they think he's saying blasphemous things. Like why is that? Like why do they think he's saying blasphemous things?
Because that's, by the way, blasphemous things. Here's the blasphemous thing. That he says that he's telling people that God needs them. That's the blasphemy. Do you understand?
Well, I kind of brought that up. I put that in quotes. Remember in our conversation today, I said it's almost like quote unquote kfira to say that an infinite being that doesn't really, you know, it's kfira to say that like existence itself needs you.
Yeah. So basically,
you know what I'm saying?
You know, people like to say like God wants, but he doesn't need.
Yeah.
Right? But then the question is, do you really, you know, do you really want what you don't need?
Yeah. It's like the whole thing is exercise is kfira. It sounds like kfira when you say these things.
It sounds like kfira because if somebody takes it and just kind of, you know, doesn't really look into what that means, then all of a sudden they say, God is... Because, God needs something, that means he's not perfect.
Yeah.
What if his need is to share his perfection?
Yeah.
That's not a contradiction. He wants a true other. A true other. Do you understand what that means?
No, I get it. It's just it's very difficult for a lot of people to wrap their heads around because I feel like, you know what I feel like? I feel like that the Jewish world, the Orthodox world, has become so Christianized to the point where people don't, as much as they learn Torah, they're not into so much trusting that the layman will understand these very, very nuanced concepts.
No, most people...
And most people don't.
I'm not saying they're always wrong, but Jewish people are treated like children.
Yeah, they're treated like children. But the thing is, because they're treated like children, over the generation, they've actually become children.
They become children. That's correct.
Over the generations, instead of fusing the brain power that they used for the Haskalah to use that same brain power for Torah, they've just become an understanding like really deep concepts, not just Torah, but I'm talking about like Pnimiyus as a Torah. It's either you're academic and Haskalah and anti-Torah, or if you are into Torah, there's a few and far between, and then the rest of the people, especially, unfortunately, the female persuasion, are just like not. You're not going to find high level intellectuals. Let's put it that way.
I mean,
you're not going to find.
You will.
Them.
You will. It's just. It's not.
It's not honed. It's not honed. It's not refined.
It's probably not.
Like you're not going to find people. You're not going to find FFB girls like my sister, who's like 150 IQ. And who's like the capacity to get into like NYU Stern and open up a freaking startup and like compete on an intellectual level with guys who are running venture capital firms. You're just not gonna find. You don't find that. I'm sorry, you just don't. And that's why that's why I'm single.
You're single because you're basically a jerk.
I'm basically an asshole. Yeah, I'm in that respect, I'm an asshole. Yes, I'm a Russian Jew who was raised by two Haskalah products and sue me. Yes, that's who I am. And I became frum. And I became frum when I was 31 years old, and I can't dumb myself down just for the sake of getting married. I cannot do that. Can't do it. I tried.
Okay, I tried to move away from this, but now you've done it.
No, there's no. You don't have to move away. With this discussion. No. This is a discussion that needs to be had. You understand?
I wanted to, but I don't want it doesn't have to be had in front of Denise.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does have to be had. No, because it's just for the same reason Dr. Malone has to be listened to by the scientific community. He's not, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in, because we're listening. We're silencing the voices that need not be silenced. In all spheres of life.
Listen to me for a second, okay? When people look at Avraham, now I really need you to not interrupt me.
I'm not interrupting. I'm listening.
When you look at Avraham, Yitzhak, especially Yaakov, right? Eliezer went to get a wife for Yitzhak, and he brought her. Eliezer decided who Yitzhak was going to marry. Okay, now he didn't really decide. I mean, God assisted him, right? He asked for a very, very, very specific situation to unfold, and it did. Okay, but it was a God-centered situation. Okay, he wasn't looking for how well does she know my cartoons? Stop interrupting me. Okay, I can hear you. You're about to interrupt me.
You're mischaracterizing. But go on.
I'm not mischaracterizing. I'm not speaking specifically about you.
Okay.
You have to I'm speaking generally now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably speaking about myself, if anything. Okay. So she doesn't have to know the cartoons that you grew up with. She doesn't have to like the music that you like or be aware of it. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have to like the kind of stuff. You don't have to relate to her on any of those levels at all. The only thing that truly matters was God. What is God's purpose? Okay, so if you have if the most important relationship to you is God, okay, then that's the one that you cultivate, and marriage is just an extension of that.
With frum women, I haven't even found that. Do you understand?
You promised to let me talk.
No, I'm letting you talk. I'm just telling you really quickly. I haven't even found that.
I'm not okay. So I'm
not with Baal Tshuva women, not with FFB women. I found it with the woman I'm currently seeing, and she doesn't keep Shabbos or kosher. That's who I found it with.
Let me talk. Okay, I'm zooming away from you specifically, and I'm speaking generally now. A lot of people feel
but you shouldn't.
No, I have to. You'll see why.
Okay.
You gotta zoom. You gotta be fluid. You gotta be able to zoom in and out.
Okay, fine.
As necessary. Okay, so I'm zooming away from you now. Okay, so the only thing that, just as a matter of principle, the only thing that matters, let's say on the idealized level, and that's why I'm talking about the Avot, the patriarchs. okay? Because they are the idealized people. Because they were. I mean, they were the greatest. They were as great as people can be. Okay? They made themselves so great, they resonated their frequencies.
Can I say one thing quick? But they weren't.
Damn,
but they weren't. No, I just want to say to them, they weren't. They were flawed people also.
I said as people can be.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Okay. As people can be. They were as you couldn't. So the Torah goes out of its way to show the flaws of the greatest people that ever lived. Yeah. Okay, to show that they're just people. Now every other pagan epic, right? Like the the epic of Gilgamesh.
Can you pause for a second? I just want to relocate to a different room. Just 1 second. I apologize. All right, continue.
So if you read the various pagan epics, it shows these beings, which probably people or perhaps angels of different varieties interacting. It shows them as gods and it idealizes them. And it doesn't really describe them as flawed beings that much. Mm-hmm. Okay? It elevates them, puts them on a pedestal, people who shouldn't be put on a pedestal. The Torah does the opposite. The people, if there's any people that should be put on a pedestal, they're actually shown with their flaws. But anyway, but as great as people, so they've achieved the Avot, the patriarchs, a level that it's pretty much the ideal of what a person can achieve under those circumstances. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why they were called Merkavas. Okay, yeah. They were embodiments of Sfirot. Yeah. Okay, which all human beings are supposed to be, by the way. Yeah. That's not something special. The human being, the form, the human consciousness was designed to be a Merkava, chariot for God. Mm-hmm. Okay, or for the various, for all the Sfirot, but that's what it means to resonate with the Partsufim. Yeah. That's what it means. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they did that. Okay, and so their primary interest was to have a relationship with God. They understood that was the ultimate. Yeah. Okay, it sounds boring to people nowadays, like because God seems kind of boring. You understand? But that's not our experience of God. Is not their experience. Okay, mm-hmm. They had more. It was more experiential for them. Okay, to be fair, mm-hmm. Right? So, I blame God kind of too about us. You know what I mean? Like, there's one of the commenters. It was somebody unbelievably besides Alex or Denise, right? Mm-hmm. It was it said like, I'm sorry guys, but you can't blame God for this. Well, whatever, I do. Okay, so the point is that it's difficult for people to prioritize a relationship with God nowadays with everything that exists, mm-hmm. with all the stimuli that people have at their disposal. It's very difficult to choose a silent God as a priority. That's the problem. Okay, it's really you got to dig, and you have to work hard at it to establish. I'm talking about myself to establish like any.
You have to be like a legend to do that. It's like legend status.
Well, I am a legend. I've always I am legend in my own mind. In my own mind. Yeah. So, so basically, it's hard work, and some people don't even understand what there is to achieve. Do you understand? Like, they don't know. I kind of put myself into that category sometimes too. Like, sometimes I forget. Like, what is this relationship with God? Like, okay, fine, there's a God. Okay, I believe that.
Can I tell you
don't
something?
Even believe it.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this to put myself on the pedestal. I'm just saying that what I realized that what I've been looking for all these years in terms of a marriage partner has not been, it for sure has not been a person. I'm talking about myself now, if you allow me to do that.
No,
it hasn't. It for sure has not been a person who knows the movies and knows the this and knows the that and whatever it is. And it hasn't even been a person that has been, with all these. For sure not. I never cared degrees or education or whatever it is. What I have been looking for, however, is a person that is tapped in on a certain level. And it doesn't even, and it never actually mattered whether or not, or at least more recently, it doesn't even matter if a person necessarily keeps Shabbat yet, or keeps kosher yet, or keeps that yet, or learns this yet, or whatever it is. The only thing that ever mattered to me is that I can have a conversation with this person about the nature of what the heck is going on here. And the funny part is, or the interesting part is, that COVID actually has illuminated that in people as never before. And you can really see that there's people who are, I said this today in my video, what you call rogue video, people who are Shomer, Shabbat, and kosher and all the rest of it, who aren't, in whom you cannot see that at all. And people who don't know the Torah, if you injected it in them, intravenously, but you could see that it's very visible with them, their connection to Hashem or to some kind of higher being. If no other reason than the fact that they would rather trust their intuition and a higher being that they can't explain, and they don't really know anything tangible about, than some institution. And to me, like, I've met women recently in this context, and that's probably the biggest turn on to me ever. Turn on. It's like, dare I say, it's the sexiest thing I've ever seen. A woman who knows, at the very least, where her freedoms come from. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, bro.
And frankly, I don't care if she knows Eddie Murphy or Shmeddy Murphy or George Carlin or Schmarlin. I don't care. If I say it, if I mention it, and she laughs, wonderful. If she doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, okay, whatever. But I don't care, and I never really ultimately cared about that. Nor did I care. I used to say, well, I need to be able to have a conversation with a person. Well, I can have a conversation with a stupid quadruple vax leftist about intellectual things. I can. But at the end of the But at the end of the day, no.
Look, I'm gonna try. I realize I'm long-winded, so the reason that you're saying this is because I didn't finish my point. I'll try to finish it. Like, tighten it up. Okay. Brevity is the soul of wit, and I wish I had more brevity. Okay, shows you how much wit I have. Anyway, so when the Avot, let's say when Avraham woke up, okay, or Yitzhak woke up, right? He said his version of Modani, right? Modani lefanecha, okay. But the thing is, a guy like him, he never stopped. Like, we say Modani lefanecha, okay, I got to get to work, and then that was the last time you said, you were talking to God. Yitzhak talks to God literally all day long. Okay, that's the only relationship that he really cares about. Okay, everything else is in the context of that. Like, his relationship with his wife is in the context of his relationship with God. Now, I'm not saying, do I really think that that's accessible? That kind of mindset is accessible to us? It is accessible, but what I'm saying is, it doesn't seem like most people can relate to that. That doesn't seem sexy to most people. Okay? So if that mindset was possible, right, then it basically, I'm not going to say it wouldn't matter, but basically everything that you would do through the course of your day would just be in the context of your conversation with God, your never-ending, all day long conversation with God.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is that is the idealized living experience. That's the way it's supposed to be, and that's the way it will be.
You want to know something crazy, man? when people have been asking me, like, you know, in the context of shidduchim and all this kind of stuff, what am I looking for? What you just enunciated is something that I haven't been able to, like, you basically put into words what I've been wanting to tell them, and I don't have the language to tell them.
Bless you. I blessed you with the language. Now go forth, my son.
No, but you understand what I mean? Like, I know what it look. I always tell them I'll know what it looks like when I encounter it, when I see it, but I can't effing tell you because I don't have the language to express that whatever you just blurted out.
Well, you recorded this, so you can listen to my words.
I can listen to it over and over again, and even then, maybe
over and over
you know.
And you should.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. I like how you basically have now deemed my individual recordings as rogue podcasts on my own channel.
Yes, because it's meaningless without me, obviously.
Well, the kids are.
This is at this point, you know, and actually for the past couple of minutes, people need a shtick detection.
Do you want to know something? Do you want to know something hilarious? I remember about a year ago, my mother goes to me. What are you looking for? You're looking for a woman you can sit and learn Kabbalah with?
Yes.
And I said yes. Fucking yes. Pardon my language, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Madonna's single.
Yeah, she also just got a ton of plastic surgery, and she looks like a. I don't know what she looks like now. She looks scary. She looks like the Catwoman. You know that Catwoman, Widenstein, whatever her name is.
Oh no.
Wildenstein.
Yeah.
She's looking like she's approaching there. She's on her way.
Gosh.
Dude, when my mother actually, like, she hit the nail on the head. I was like, yeah. You got it. Yeah. In the words of Michelle Tanner, you got it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you freaking nailed it. But how do I explain that to Shadchanim? What do you mean? What I mean is what I freaking said.
There's a lady who has a YouTube channel.
Like shit.
Her name is A Still Small Voice.
Yeah.
She's a Kabbalah genius.
Yeah. She was in the movie Kabbalah.
Yeah. Now, I think that a group like that, like, you know, maybe people who come to her class.
Yeah.
Like, I'd go to her class. I'd learn Kabbalah from her. You know, she's knowledgeable. She seems to be.
Yeah.
Chacham. That's not the female tense. How would you say?
Yo, man, can I pause you for 1 second? I have to.
Yeah.
Stop the recording for a second because I feel like. Hold on a second. We're good.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect.
It's just the bars were not going up and down on the you know, like the audio thing, the visual.
Yeah.
So I was worried. Whatever. We're good.
Okay. So are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so like perhaps like a lady like that, or, you know, a group, people who come to her class or similar, that might be a good place to, you know, it could be a good place to search.
Yeah. Well, listen, you know I'm talking to somebody now who used to, long time ago, used to go to Kabbalah Center, and I mean, obviously stopped, but the point is, it's a personality type that is attracted to those kind of things, who's a seeker. So it's you know, so, it's a start.
Yeah. Now, when you get to, you know, let's say that person who is inclined that way, you also, I think, have to be not too strict about what level they're on in terms of how much they know.
For sure.
Right? Just that they're open to knowing.
For sure. That's the whole point. It's not about it's not about what is it called? It's not about Daniel San finding the freaking
Right.
black belt. It's just about a person you can train with.
Yeah, a person that you can fill in the gaps for
Yeah.
for them on some level, and then
And
you
also,
know,
they can
become
fill in the
great-
gaps for me
great-
in other ways, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's I think that's primary. Like someone who has the same curiosity about God.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's pretty important. Because again, it's kind of, if someone is not inclined that way, if they're not they're not interested, it's tough to get them interested to begin with.
Yeah, it's true.
But at the same time, if let's say you find a pretty girl, right, who is whatever, from, okay, she grew up from a from family,
Yeah.
so she knows how to do everything. Like she's used to it culturally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That might be good too, because
It might be.
during the course, and also you like her for other reasons, because she's pretty, she's nice, whatever it is. Okay, not to get too specific.
Yeah.
Okay, and she wants to have a family, and she has a lot of other qualities, because she already knows the halachot. It might be easier for you to say, can we sit down and, like, were you ever curious as to what this is about, like this specific halacha, like what? And then, you could, a girl like that could benefit from being married to a guy like you, as long as you like her for other reasons too.
Can
Like,
I just tell you something real quick? You're actually right. You are right. The only thing that I will say is that, listen, despite the fact that I look younger and give off a younger vibe than I am,
you give off the vibe of an old coot.
how should I put this? Women who grew up frum, let's say if they are in their early 30s and grew up frum, either they've already been married and have a couple of kids, which is a situation I don't really want to get into. I really don't.
Right.
I don't, and I can't be blamed. I can't be blamed for that.
You can't.
Or, and I'm only saying this because I found this to be experiential, to be what I've seen with myself and my own experience, extensive experience. A girl who's 27 years old, FFB, in Russian we say vryadli. It's doubtful that I will be given access to her. The only way that I would get access to her is by some sort of organic happenstance, what we call hashkaha.
That's the best.
Hashkaha, yes, correct, that is the best. But it has to happen that way. Otherwise,
Well,
it's
you
just,
know what? How about this? What if God's like saying, like, you ever heard that joke about the guy who wants to win a lottery but won't buy the lottery ticket, right? So
yeah,
maybe,
I know.
Dude,
the
I'm
joke.
partly
Yeah.
I'm partly doing a shtick
I
here.
know.
So give me a second, okay?
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
So basically, because you are just this angry, bitter old coot.
I'm not.
Right?
I'm not in reality. I'm not.
Can you just let me do my shtick? Damn,
okay.
dude.
Okay.
Let a brother do a shtick.
Uh-huh.
All right. So because you're in a bad mood and you're just this old coot, this angry old codger. How about that, huh? So God's like, nah, she's not gonna like him if he's in this mood.
Uh-huh.
This guy has to lighten up, all right, and get young.
Okay.
He has to get younger than he is.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta be light. Keep it light and happy. Just kind of like fun.
You could talk to the woman that I'm talking to is going to listen to this, and you can talk to her, and she will confirm to you that I am light.
I'm not gonna
that
talk
I
to
am
her.
light as a feather. In many ways.
So I'm just worried that because you're holding this inside, right?
Holding one
Because
aside.
because you have this like bitter old cootness to you, right?
No, it's just that.
I wonder if it comes out.
No,
when
it
you're
doesn't.
hanging
It
out with
doesn't
your
come
girl.
out when I'm actually how should I put this? When I'm smitten with a person, it doesn't come out. You know, at the end of the day, dude, you have to understand something. We're Russians. Russians need to be given, знаешь, как по-русски, дайте нам повод обрадоваться. We're not going to generate our own happiness on our own. We need an outside thing to come and give that to us. Yes, we need that. We don't walk around smiling. We need if you're smiling, you belong in a for no reason you belong in a mental institution. You need something to smile at. You need something or someone to smile at. Okay?
I like to smile.
Okay, Mr. Smiley.
Yeah.
You understand?
You know, it's a wonderful day.
We need an attractive woman to get into our car. And then she gets into our car, and then we say something stupid, and she laughs, and we smile that she's laughing, and then we're freaking smiling. When you're smiling, I know you know that song. When you're smiling, you know what I'm saying. And then we got something to work with. Until then, ain't nothing to smile about. Until then, we're just talking to shadchans who are pissing us off because they're stupid, and we can't smile. It's like my partner also, this California guy. Keep smiling. No, I can't fucking smile because there's nothing to smile about. Until I get something to smile about, and then I'll fucking smile. You understand?
Gotta smile, man.
Welcome to Russia.
Find something to smile. No, man. No welcome to Russia. No, this isn't every, you know.
You've been psyoped. I've been psyoped, okay? I was born there.
I've been psyoped for like 3 straight days watching Russian TV. Everything is horrible. Everything is stressful. Everything is
and the
dreadful.
music is la 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 la.
It's so soul draining. Everything drains your soul.
Тоска, блядь.
It's so deficient. It just sucks the life. Russian TV sucks the life out of you because it's nothing but horror, or World War II horror, or Afghanistan horror, and just like or extremely dysfunctional families with women who are always just like sucking the life out of everybody around them, and they're so over dramatic and everything's so melodramatic, and it's so difficult. It's so heavy. Russian life is so heavy.
Dude, it's like it'll be like a guy and a girl, and a guy's like, you know, professing that he wants to be with a girl, and he goes, "И мы разговариваем вот так, and I never expressed my love to you until now. Ну, Ваня, почему ты мне это не говорил раньше? Ну, я думал, что ты же была с Мишей. И ты понимаешь, я боялся. You were with Michael, and I was scared, and I was. You were so silly. How do you not? And we have to talk like this, шепотом. We have to talk like at a very low. We gotta talk like that. We gotta talk like this. And then the music comes on.
It's a lot like the novellas.
And then it's mamash. That's where they got it from. Yeah, and then there's a guy in the hospital because he got run over by a mafia guy because he got involved with the wrong guys, you know. And ну ты понимаешь, мой брат, my brother, they wanted to kill him. We have to save him. Oh, I'm your white knight. I'll save you because I have nothing else to do. It's not like I have a job. And and if I don't do this, I'll just die of alcoholism. That's the whole plot of every.
It's like that sounds deep compared to the stuff that I was watching. You know, everything's like kind of like a mix of that plus some kind of like Van Damme action movie. You know, they try to.
Yes. Yeah, like a crime. The other part of the plot, the subplots. There's the detective that's trying to solve the mafia thing, and then there's like the love, whatever triangle thing.
Yeah, the love part.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a parallel sujet.
By the way, there's always a mafia boss, and there's always the wife or the girlfriend of the mafia boss.
Dude.
And there's always the idiot that works for the mafia boss who's having an affair with the wife.
There was a very famous series. When I first started seeing these things 20 years ago, it was called, my parents, this is before the channel, my parents rented the tapes. It was called Banditsky Peterburg. Do you remember this thing? Bandit filled St. Petersburg.
Criminal St. Petersburg.
Criminal St. Petersburg, yeah. And there was a main character, the mob boss, his name was Antibiotic. Antibiotic. His name, you had the journalist. Journalist was a protagonist, the journalist, who used to drink highball glasses of vodka, like highball glasses, like a full glass, not a shot. And then you had Antibiotic, the bald guy, leader of the mafia, Antibiotic. And this was a series that people took seriously. This was like the Dallas of Russian seriali. You know, like who killed JR? Who killed the journalist?
Yeah. Yeah.
Antibiotic, блядь.
I remember in one of those, I don't think it was the one you're talking about. There's another one where they all look the same to me, but some guy is like, some like chubby Russian guy sitting at a table, you know, like, закуской.
Yeah. Таранка.
Смотри, какой бобец. Классный бобец.
What?
I'm like, Mama, what's a bobец? She didn't explain.
Oh, Baba. Oh, like chick.
Yeah, like
bobец.
a hot chick, like a. Yeah. It's just so crude. It's so crude. After watching like that, I need to watch something like The Goonies or Neverending Story or like Super Troopers, as far away from Russianism as possible. Something that Russians couldn't get. That is like literally, it's like they wouldn't be able to.
Oh, like you mean like американское говно?
I mean, I love американское говно.
American shit.
Russians don't understand shit.
It's like my parents. Ты, что ты хочешь, чтобы я смотрел? Вот это американское говно?
Yeah, look, because the pie in the face. Because они берут торты.
Какой у них humor? What kind of humor they have? Pie in the face. I'm like, no, Eddie Murphy. Okay, Eddie Murphy. No, Eddie Murphy is one person. My dad loves Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything funny. What, do you want me to watch Dave Chappelle? Black white supremacist? Idiot? Этот идиот?
They don't. It's not. It doesn't reach them. It can't. They don't understand the nuances.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how funny Bugs Bunny is? Like the old cartoons.
Yeah. No, listen. My parents they get it. They do get it. They watched the last Chappelle thing, the previous one on Netflix. They thought it was funny. My parents get it. It's just, I don't know.
It's a simplistic, like, you had some humorists from Russia, like, you know, during Soviet times, like from the 50s and the 60s, who they had some quality to them. There was some substance to their humor.
Yeah.
Okay? There was some irony. There's some real shtick that they had.
Yeah.
But it's usually only Jewish guys.
It's Jewish guys, and it reminds me of like the vaudeville shit from America. You know, a lot of it.
Yes.
I mean, it was the same people. It was the same people that came over to America who founded the Odessa people. You see the same humor. You had Odessa humor in Russia. It was the same humor that came over here, just in English. It's identical.
There's something exactly like Odessa. There's something there.
Like that snippy, snappy stuff, you know? The witty, snippy, snappy, quick, you know?
And they understand. Do you understand? Like, I can't explain it any better. People from Odessa, or they used to be, not the new generation, but the generation like my parents, people from Odessa, they understood shtick.
Yeah.
My father, they understand body language, facial expressions, you know, silly. Yeah. They just get it. They have potential, but most Russians, it does not seem accessible to them.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like, you know, they're already geared to not understand it. You know what I mean? Like there's some kind of insecurity / superiority / inferiority complex that Russians have when it comes to America.
I know.
And it's
Listen,
kind of
I find myself having it as well on some level.
Yes, you do.
I remember when I was in high school, for example. I didn't feel comfortable around these like pure-blooded American types. I still don't.
Pure-blooded American.
You know, these American kids. I never felt comfortable around them. I always felt comfortable. Like I always felt comfortable when I remember I was when we were living in Brooklyn, because I was around all the same, you know, like just like people like myself, like either immigrants or even if they were Americans, it was like ethnic people, like Italians.
I never quite could connect with like, you know, Russian dudes.
No, I couldn't connect with Russian dudes. I could connect with people like who are, let's say, if they're like Italian or Irish or Black or Hispanic. Let's say if they were born here, but their parents are from like Italy, or Ireland, or like Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those are the kids. Those are the kids that I rolled with in Brooklyn.
I know what you mean. I felt that way too, but some reason I always could connect with like you know, like you call pure-blooded Americans. Like
I couldn't.
I just could. It was like came very naturally to me.
Well, because you were born here. I wasn't.
I was born here, and that was like the easy thing for me to do. Like basically, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm kind of a flyover state dude. You know, in my mentality.
I'm a flyover state dude now, later in life, but back then I was like not into that. I'm into that now.
I didn't know I was. You know, like I pretty much like, I don't know, like for instance, like on construction sites, like I got along with dudes pretty much right away.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay. So, yeah, so whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that Russians are stupid. Couldn't continue.
Oh.
They're not stupid. A lot of them are. They have their look. There's just different types of mentalities.
You know what the
like
best?
Russian,
can I tell you something? You know what the best thing?
Points.
The best thing is right now on besides those seriali on Russian television. You have these journalistic, or they call journalistic talk shows, right?
Oh.
Hosted. Listen to this. It's hosted by a guy. I forget his name. I have his face in my head. It's a guy who is basically a media frontman for the Putin, you know, people.
They all are.
No, but listen. So what he does is, what does he do? He'll invite like panelists, you know, like
yeah,
I don't know how do I say in Russian, panelists, whatever. And it's the funniest thing because you'll have like the people who are for Putin's policies, right? Like 3 people, let's say. And then you'll have two people who are, let's say, anti-Putin and or pro-Ukraine. And then you have an American journalist who speaks fluent Russian.
I know what show you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? And then what happens is they'll start like the guy will like ask a question, right? Or he'll make a point. And he goes, okay, what's your opinion and what's your opinion? And then they start trying to debate the point, and then at some point, usually sooner than later, it just devolves into a freaking shouting match.
Yeah.
And it's worse than anything you'll ever see on any Israeli news, because those guys, know how to yell with the best of them. It just turns into a shouting match, and you just have like the Putin people shouting down the anti or the pro-Ukraine people, and the host is like egging them on, joining in with them, and just like, and then the audience gets involved, and the audience, is obviously pro-Putin, they're hand selected, and they just start yelling down these like adversary, these like basically anti.
Sounds like the View or Real Time with Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly the same.
But it's just like it's just freaking shouting, and my dad sometimes will sit and watch this, right? And I ask him, I'm like, first of all, do you understand anything that's going on? He's like, no. Secondly, I'm like, why do you care who, because my dad hates Putin. He hates KGB people. But I'm just like, why are you rooting for one? Because, like, we're from Ukraine, right? So, like, we're from Lvov, Western Ukraine. I'm like, why do you care one side or the other? Because I hate Putin. I'm like, yeah, but I want to give these people both a bracha for success. You understand? It's like the Shiites and the Sunnis in Syria. Like, why do you care who wins here? Do you have an answer to this question?
I do. Because in a lot of ways, they still feel like Ukrainians. I know that sounds weird.
I know they do.
You know, a place which essentially rejects them.
Yeah.
For the most part, okay. You know, could be a couple of people in Kiev who are if more evolved. they see Jews as equals.
Dude, can I tell you something? My parents 2 years ago or 3 years ago went to visit Ukraine to their friend. They went to this thing in the Carpathian Mountains called Schidnice. It's like a resort town where people go for the spas.
Drink water.
No, yeah, for spas, drink water, and like basically shit themselves. They eat a bunch of roughage,
right? And
they shit, and everything passes through them. Not to get too graphic on this program. And my mother told me when she was there, who runs this place? It's Ukrainian-speaking Western Ukrainian types, right? But what happens is that they get a lot of people from Eastern Ukraine, Moskali, you know what they call them, you know, pro-Russians.
Yeah.
And they come there and they start and they deliberately won't speak Ukrainian. They'll speak in Russian. And then my parents said that they came along and they started speaking to those people in Ukrainian. And those people were like, "Oh, видите?" And then they switched over to Russian to them and they said, "Oh, вы жиды, you Jews, not жиды, you евреи, you have our respect because at least, you know, you guys," and they know that my parents left years ago. They could tell that they're American Jews, whatever it is. And they said, "You guys left 30, I don't know, some odd years ago, but you're making the effort to speak Ukrainian. And these Moskali, son of a bitches, don't even, you know, they live here, they live in the country, and they don't even want to speak Ukrainian." And my mother's like, "Listen, we're from Lvov, we're from Western Ukraine, and we know where we are right now. We're in the Carpathian Mountains, and we have to, you know, we have to. It's a thing of respect. We're not gonna walk into your whatever, you know, we're not gonna walk into Moscow and speak Ukrainian. Just like we're gonna speak Ukrainian." And they were like, mad respect. You know, you Jews, you don't have. This woman even said, she's like, "You guys don't even have any reason to speak Ukrainian to us after the way you were treated. But you're making the effort." You know?
Yeah.
And these freaking people from Dnepropetrovsk and whatever just kept doing their Russian stuff. And Donetsk and Dnepropetrovsk or wherever they're from.
Listen, Russians don't believe that Ukraine should be a separate country.
Well, yeah, I mean, they think it's the same
Ukraina.
Yeah.
The word Ukraina just means like...
on the edge.
It means a cry, it means a corner, an edge.
Yeah.
It's the edge of Russia, as viewed by the Russians.
Yeah.
Okay? So the Russians essentially feel entitled because the Russian Empire started from Kiev.
Yeah.
Okay? The people who are called Russians nowadays, like in terms of their ethnicity, they were called the Kievan Rus.
Yeah.
It started in Kiev.
No, I know. The capital of Russia was Kiev.
So that's like you know, they're kind of like their origin capital. So they don't really see Ukraine as a separate country, but Ukrainians see it differently.
Can I switch gears for a second? My Israeli friend who lives in Los Angeles, he has a business based out of obviously a kiosk inside of a mall. You know, I know, very, very, very unusual for an Israeli. Yeah. And he just wrote the following slew of text, and this is not the first time you would hear this litany from him. This is maybe the 100th time since I've known him, which has been since 2017. He writes the following, and mind you, this is a Shomer Shabbat guy from Israel. He writes the following. A beautiful Colombian girl is working next to me. She is like Jewish girls, only the opposite. Constantly flirting, started touching. She is touching. What? I don't know. Whatever. Touching too. Help me. Help. No alternative. Help. Basically, this guy. This is what he wrote the other day. He wrote the other day that he went to an event, a party. Here, went to a party last night. So many Japs, like not Japanese, but Jewish American princesses. Like they talk to you and act so distant. We wrote distant. And he goes, I'm better looking than them, taller than them, have more money than them. Most of them are like a 6 to an 8. Okay. Why do they act like the world owes them something? Some of the girls. Dude, can you explain why? I mean, we spoke about this already. Why these Jewish girls are the way? What is it? What's that at the office? Why are you the way that you are? Why are they the way that they are? And why do these non-Jewish girls? Why are they so nice?
I'll tell you exactly why. There's 2 reasons, okay? Number 1, they are baby souls. That's my feeling. That's my personal speculation. That non-Jewish of this generation, actually, it would seem to me, are like they're like newborn souls.
Yeah.
They don't carry the trauma of generations of horror.
Okay.
Okay? So that right then it has this like kind of light fluffiness to it, which is very it's very attractive. That's number 1. Okay? So the second thing is they are unwitting agents of the Sitra Achra. Okay? They didn't go out, they didn't report to headquarters, get their their mission, and then all of a sudden try to seduce Jewish guys. Okay? Whatever they're doing, they're innocent. However, they are extensions of the agents of the Sitra Achra.
So what you're telling me is that if you're not an agent of Sitra Achra, it has to mean that you have to act like a bitch.
No.
So why do they behave this way? Why do Jewish women behave this way?
Because now we're talking about Jewish women. That's separate.
Okay.
Jewish women have no assistance from the Sitra Achra to try to create tempting situations for guys to sin.
Basically, what they're trying to do is turn us off as much as possible.
They're not doing anything consciously. Stop it with that. Stop it.
No, I'm not saying they're doing it consciously. I'm just saying they're built to do this subconsciously.
The only usually when it comes to attracting guys, right? The way we like to be attracted. Okay, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is the Sitra Achra department.
So what you're telling me is that Israeli women also don't have that trauma, or their neshamas are fairly new. Because I don't see them acting this way. Not as much.
Possibly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Possibly. Yes, possibly.
These Sephardi, Moroccan, sweet, nice, at least to American guys, girls who barely speak any English they might as well be shiksas, but they're not. So
of course not.
Is it that they don't have that generational trauma from the Holocaust because they never went through it? Is it just
also they came from simpler cultures? Okay, they came from cultures where, for instance, they didn't really have high society.
Yeah. They kind of did. You could watch documentaries about the history of like North African Jewry. They kind of had their own thing going on, but it wasn't like in Europe.
Right. I'm talking about, let's say, the past couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Or if they did have this kind of cosmopolitan, part of their culture, the Jews were not involved in it. They were very segregated in the Arabic world. There was much less tolerance about Jews getting involved on high levels in the Arabic world than there was in the westernized, in recent westernized Europe.
Yeah.
Recent meaning past 200 years. Okay.
Yeah. Unless you're like Eli Cohen, you're not going to get to be a Minister of Defense
right.
of Syria.
Right. Eli Cohen. Tell the folks at home who Eli Cohen was quickly.
He was an Israeli spy who basically became almost a Minister of Defense of Syria in the 60s. So you would have a Jew becoming minister of like something in Europe voluntarily, by design.
Yeah.
But in Syria he'd have to be a spy to get up to those echelons.
Yes. Okay. So they mostly I remember. I think you showed me some of these videos where this guy Corey Gill Schuster. Am I saying that right?
Yeah. He interviews people from like.
He was interviewing this Israeli guy who was descendants of Yemenites.
Yeah.
And actually, he remembers. I think he might have even remembered being from Yemen. He was like a small kid when they came over, and he was talking about the simplicity of life in Yemen. How, nowadays you can't afford to have children, but in those days they all had huge families, and everybody was dirt poor.
Yep.
Right? Because you didn't know about certain things. You didn't know about standards. You didn't know that everybody had to have special diapers and everything. It's like everything was it wasn't culturally prohibited to have children in poverty.
Yeah.
Somehow everybody got by, and it was fine. It was accepted. It was there's something a little bit easier about that.
Yeah.
But there's so many.
Nobody was writing articles about on Bloomberg. That article that I showed you, it's from 2017. Maybe it's time to stop having so many kids for the earth.
They should.
Talk to Yemenites about the ones writing the article should stop that. Yeah.
That whole crew they should be sterilized.
It's like the movie Idiocracy. Remember in the beginning where they show the couple, the types that stopped having kids, or the ones that were doing like family planning, and then the types that weren't. Let those people.
Exactly. So there's more like psychological. There's things that weigh down the psychology of a person from the Western world, especially a Jewish person. There's so many requirements. There's so many things that I'm involved in this. I'm involved in that. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I have 50 PhDs. I volunteer this, and I became a partner at this law firm. All this shit is so heavy. It so weighs down the psyche of the Western Jewish mind, and the women are no exception.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They are terrorized by it. Yeah. Not necessarily consciously. Okay. But the requirements of the Ashkenazi Jewish mother.
Gosh.
Do you understand? This is what everybody can suffer from it. The sons and the daughters, and then the daughters eventually become that same Ashkenazi Jewish mother.
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Okay? They torture themselves and they torture everybody else. Okay, because they are so on a mission. Listen, and this is the important part. I'm not berating them. They are so driven. They are so on a mission to get things done that they think are important. That they're so vital. They're so desperate to. It's everything they do is so important. And it's that the world will be destroyed instantaneously if they don't achieve this. Okay.
I was just talking.
They have to get involved in everything.
I was just talking about this with you probably. Who did I leave the message to? Oh no, a friend of mine, about how we think. How I've been observing people in the Jewish community, and everybody, even the frum people, think everything is so important. Everything they're doing is so important. All their events are so important. All their job and all their causes. We have to fight anti-Semitism. We have an organization to blah 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 and blah blah blah.
But listen.
It's very, very important. You must donate. It's important.
No, but if that
and we have to have our leather chairs in Manhattan. It's so important.
Okay, but check this out. that maddening, annoying energy that they have, if channeled correctly, right, can build a community.
It could, yeah.
Like, think about,
sure.
Do you understand?
It could build. It could build.
The wife of a shliach.
Yeah, it could build.
The wife of a Chabad shliach.
Yeah,
that's who build. They build those communities.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
yeah.
But when you have a leftist lady, all of a sudden she's she's wearing a pink hat shaped like a private part.
In the words of Borat, sleeve of wizard. Yeah. By the way, you know what my friend just wrote? So I wrote to my friend what you just said about the whole non-Jewish women, whatever. And he wrote to me, bro, she was an effing model in Colombia. And check this. And then he writes in capital letters, check this. She has a personality. Oh my God. Unlike the Japs from the Hanukkah party. This poor guy, you understand? This guy, I should give a quick background on this guy. He was raised not knowing anything about women. He was sent to a Torani school, if you know what Torani is, like a Dati Leumi Hardal school in Israel, with girls and guys separate. This guy started dating getting really into the dating scene when he was like 29 or 30 years old. He's now 34. He's like wet behind the ears. He's just, this is it's like a whole, like that song, A Whole New World, It's a whole new world for him, and he can't, and he's like, what are the alternatives? He keeps meeting these Jewish girls here in America, and he doesn't understand. He's like knocking, and then he just like meets these shiksas, and they're so nice. These non-Jewish girls are so nice to him. They're so sweet and so nice and so attractive.
Dude,
he has no outlet. He's about to lose his mind. You understand? He's about to lose his mind, not his mind, but his other mind.
He's not attracted to the kind of girl the kind of Jewish girl that would be attracted to him. He doesn't want to marry a pretty nice Israeli Sephardi girl. He
doesn't want to marry because that's what he grew up with, and they all throw they all throw. You know why he doesn't want to marry? Because they throw dishes at their husbands. That's why. And they scream.
So you wear some protective headgear, but the rest is good.
Dude, he's traumatized. He doesn't want that. He wants. You know who he wants? He wants a freaking blonde. That's what he wants. He's an idiot.
Guy's an idiot. We're talking about a very, very frustrated person who.
Yeah.
Look, when it comes to, he's not an idiot. He's just a regular guy who doesn't understand.
Yeah.
He's not connected with the driving force of the Jewish lady mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what it is. They are not fully conscious of it, but when it comes to like things that occur in the world, big important stuff, you will find a Jewish lady there.
He doesn't care, dude. He's Yemenite. He just wants a servant. Do you understand?
I know. So he wants
He wants a sweet, nice lady. When he comes home, there's a meal. There's a nice word. Hi, honey. How was your flippin' day? The kids are great. He wants some conversation. He whatever. He doesn't want to be mouthed off to. He's from Yemen. They didn't have floors in Yemen.
Yeah. Listen.
They had sand.
Listen. I understand what you're saying. The Jewish women, and probably for the most part Ashkenazi Jewish women, but not exclusively. Plenty of Sephardic Jewish women too.
Yeah.
And what I mean is Sephardi, like of Spanish descent.
Yeah.
Plenty of those too.
Yeah.
Okay. They are in the mix of all the big important stuff. The geopolitical
he doesn't care.
Shit going on.
He doesn't care.
I'm not talking about him. Just hear me out. Stop. Okay. And so they are so driven to be involved and to affect that, and this is not necessarily conscious.
Yeah.
Because but they have this natural drive, this push to get involved in all that important stuff, but very few of them understand how to wield it or where that energy should be aimed at.
Yeah.
So they end up like all over the place. It's a mess.
They're flailing. Yeah, they're flailing all over the place.
Okay, so it's that it's that energy, it's that chaotic energy. Like we keep coming back to this idea, the light of chaos in shattered vessels.
Yeah.
So that's what he's experiencing.
Yep.
He's experiencing these Jewish women, these so much crazy energy.
Yeah.
Right? They're so powerful, and with and they just they funnel that energy into the most annoying, chaotic things that make like stable people nervous.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you feel
not
like
just nervous. You feel like they're just being bitchy. You
it.
feel like they're just being nasty and bitchy and like not and distant.
That's how they're coming off. But in their mind, they're like, you just don't want to be involved in important things. I can't be with a person like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they try to size you up. Are you willing to get ready for the big important thing that if I come into your life?
And this guy doesn't care.
Things.
You know what this guy always tells me? He's like, Tzvi, I don't understand why you're always like trying to relate Torah and politics. Why do you always combine the two? Why they're separate things? He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. To him, it's like here's practice of haloche, and that's Torah, and that's that, and then this is the world that we live in, and it's got nothing to do with Hashem's precepts and what He wants us to do for that. So he's like, why are you looking for this girl who's like cares about this stuff and this and that? Just look for a nice they probably see him and they're wondering like, does this guy care about anything that's worthwhile, substantive?
Right, he doesn't seem to. So
he does, but he doesn't take that into. He doesn't feel the need to bring that into his love, like relationships and love life, and how to find a marriage partner.
Dude, he wants, like you said. I mean, it seems like he's not comfortable, like with the idea of women being involved in important stuff. He wants just a nice girl who he just doesn't want to commit her life to something that feels is bigger than her.
And if she does, I think he mentioned this. At least be nice. Like, what stops you from caring about important things and this and that and the other, and also just being a freaking mensch to a guy?
Well, okay, so again,
why are the two mutual freaking exclusive? You understand what I mean?
It's hard. Look, when we're talking about this guy's situation, it's very difficult because these girls, like, if we were flies on the wall.
Dude, can I pause you for a second? I can go to Turning Point USA gathering. You know Turning Point USA? It's like the campus conservative activism thing. I can meet a really active non-Jewish girl who's really sweet and who's going to turn the world upside down with her conservative activism. But she's really freaking sweet. And she loves Yoshke. Okay. I can meet her tomorrow if I wanted to. I don't want to, but I could meet her tomorrow. Why can't I meet a girl who's a Jewish girl? I can't, because she's going to be chances are she's not going to be very nice.
Okay, look, Jewish girls in general, okay, are they, not only do they have like this like energy and they have this drive to get involved in everything important, they also have they are multi-generationally jaded.
Yeah.
Consciousness.
That's what I feel like.
Okay? And for good reason. Okay? So, look, the only real remedy to this Jewish dating crisis, what a lame like phrase to say. I can't believe it came out of my mouth. But whatever it is, okay? The only remedy for it is for Jewish people to have mercy on each other. Do you understand? To stop being
can I tell you something real quick? I agree with you.
Nobody else will.
The woman that I'm talking to, she's going to listen to this. I have a theory about her. Why is she so nice? You know why?
I wouldn't let her. I shouldn't. I don't think she should listen to this.
She should listen to this. You know why? You know why she's so nice? You know why she's so nice? Because most of her friends and the people that she spent time around the last I don't know how many years have been not Jewish. Including the people at the Kabbalah Center. I include probably those people in that equation. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, there might be something to that.
It rubs off. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
It rubs
Here.
off.
You're right. because I think,
Menschlichkeit rubs off. You know, just like if you spend time in a yeshiva with guys, you know, who are working on their mitos and all these kind of things, it rubs off.
yeah, I mean, it's a very, I guess, you know, when you're in a very insular, I don't know, man. I guess you're right. You know, like you have to learn how to, you know what's interesting? I just realized something. Have you ever seen kids who really their only friends were their brothers and sisters? Like they came from like a big family.
Yeah, yeah.
And the people they spent all their time with were their brothers, sisters, and cousins, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other kids who they didn't have that many families, so they had to like, associate with people who are, I'm not going to say strangers, but not family.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a completely different type of behavior. Okay? So it seems like the Jewish girls, right, that the type that, let's say, didn't spend too much time around, say, non-Jewish people or Jewish people from not the religious culture, let's say, right?
No.
So they are more they understand that they're more diplomatic. Like they understand how to be just like around people, how they have tact, let's put it that way, right? People who grow up only around their families, no tact whatsoever.
I know.
There's no filtration, there's no it's too familiar. Do you understand?
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean I can't just like throw a plate across the room?
Right. They
can't.
It's when you're from like a small kind of culture where everybody is just like, everybody everybody's your relative, everybody is just somebody you grew up with, and like you don't get out and meet new types of people.
You don't get out much.
You're over comfortable with your family. Mm-hmm. And then by extension, like religious Jewish communities are kind of like that in general. Yeah. Everybody's over familiar with each other. Yeah. Too familiar. Not enough boundaries, and not enough manners.
As Charlie Murphy used to say about Rick James, my nigga got too familiar. I had to whip his ass. My boy got too familiar. That was the ebb and flow of our relationship. I had to whip it. One eye was looking at me, the other one was looking at Rick. And my boy got too familiar. I had to whip his ass. Miss Johnson, she was here, I would punch her in the face.
Right. So there's a certain amount of familiarity that they expect from you, right? That they don't expect that that's what they're used to, right? And they think you're used to it too. Yeah. Right? And they don't necessarily understand that you're not from that kind of, and they're not necessarily aware that there's any other way to be.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Mm-hmm. I think we made progress just now.
I've had a breakthrough, as they say in the psychiatric circles.
Yeah.
My friend is really struggling. He doesn't know what the solution to all of this is. We keep telling him that, if you want, we tried to give him one solution. If you want an Ashkenazi girl, Jewish girl, you may have to go back to Israel and go to these in Nachlot, they have these kind of secular or quasi-secular Ashkenazi Israelis in Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But then for him, that's not an option. That's you might as well send them back to you might as well send them into a volcano. Put him inside of a volcano. For him to go back to Israel, it's the ultimate trauma for him. So the only other, he's gonna stay here. He's gonna stay in America, right? So if he's in America, what is the solution for him? There is no solution.
Look, man, this guy just wants to date chicks, okay? And
he doesn't.
Everything.
He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to do that. They hit on him. He doesn't get hit on by Jewish girls. He gets hit on by non-Jewish girls. Gorgeous.
Jewish girls don't.
I know they don't hit on guys.
Hit on guys.
I know.
They shouldn't. Girls shouldn't hit on guys.
Well, the non-Jewish girls do it all the time.
I know, but they shouldn't.
Whatever they should, they shouldn't. I'm giving you reality. Don't tell me what they should, they shouldn't.
I understand.
I'm giving you reality. I'm giving you his reality. His very real reality.
Okay, you and your real reality. Get a dose. Get ready for another dose of reality. He should understand that that's not a good thing. That should be the reality. He doesn't want to understand that because he likes it.
Because he likes it because he never had it. He was stuffed in lockers in his Torani school in Petah Tikva.
Again, he wants what's happening to him. Do you understand? He's in the honeypot.
I know.
End of story.
I know.
Okay, and everything else he says is bullshit.
I know. I know.
Anything. So because a Jewish girl is not going to go hit on him because it's indecent to do that.
Listen, he doesn't mind. No, listen to me very carefully. He's totally cool with going to a party or going somewhere or going here, going there, going to a shadchan, going on a date. He just wants reciprocation. He's totally cool with initiating and being the man and doing this. He just wants some warmth, at least some level of reciprocation, and at least not coldness.
You know, he's like the reverse Shechem. You know the story of Shechem and Dinah?
Yeah. No, you understand though? He's just, that's all he's asking for. He's just asking for, like, in Russian we call it вежливость. Знаешь, что вежливость?
There's a reason why.
Just be a mensch. Menschlichkeit.
Look, you'll never know what his...
I don't know.
Hold on 1 second. I drank your drink. Why? I wanted it. My name is Honey. Congratulations.
1 second of fame.
You're 1 second of fame. Okay. So, okay, is it recording again now?
Now it's recording.
Listen, it's, unless we're there, like, I have a feeling that if you see the interactions that he had with the girls that he's talking about.
I saw everything. I used to live with the guy. I saw everything.
I like to finish. I like to be able to finish sentences.
Okay, but anyway, go on.
I hate half sentences being interrupted. It's just, even if you can anticipate what I'm going to say, it's still annoying.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, I don't know. My instinct tells me that this guy he's being unfair because he already decided what he likes and what he wants. Anything that doesn't fit, that doesn't live up to that, look, this is what he wants. It's like he wants a Jewish girl, right? Mm-hmm. Who has the midot of a Jewish girl, but also somewhere inside of her is the exotic, like, stripper that can flirt. You know, this like kind of wild.
You know what who he wants? No, that's not what he wants. He wants a Jewish girl, the one that you would find somewhere in the hills of the Shomron, because that is actually how his sister is, and his nieces are. That's how they behave. That's how religious Jewish girls behave in the Shtachim. And that's not how they behave in Los Angeles. But he's not going to go back to the Shtachim. You understand?
Okay, so he should though.
He should, but he's not going to. So he's stuck. And he's wondering why girls in this country cannot behave like a mensch.
Okay, listen. He's not stuck. He is decided to stay stuck.
He decided to stay stuck, but you
can't help a person like that.
I know you can't help him. I know you can't. But you know,
want to be helped.
but it does beg the question: why can't millions of women behave like a mensch, the ones that are here in America?
Because not necessarily.
Because they're entitled.
His idea of a mensch.
Because they're entitled and spoiled.
I'm gonna do devil's advocate. His idea of a mensch is not necessarily a mensch.
Dude.
Okay, I don't necessarily. Who's to say that his standards is what's right?
I have the same standards of behavior as he does, and I agree with him because I experience the same things. I'm sorry. The only difference is I'm willing to open up my horizons and date, Sephardi women and whoever.
That's a big difference, dude.
I know it's a big difference. I know.
You say the only difference. That's the difference.
I know that's the difference. Okay. Yeah.
So what's missing here? Okay, is the understanding of whatever you call it, the sign of the times, like the writing on the wall. God is showing you what exists now.
Yeah.
For his purposes, it is obviously necessary. Otherwise, it wouldn't be. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that should occur. I'm speaking to myself as well.
Yeah.
It's just not just about this subject, but in general.
Yeah.
What you want, if it doesn't match up with what you're seeing, then you are more involved in yourself than you are with God.
Could be.
I'm talking to myself.
It's true. No, you're right. It's true. It's true.
Because God's like, look, man, I sent you here. I sent you on the ground. I sent you. I sent you to the field. All right, you are a field agent now, and if you're going to complain that the field doesn't have the accommodations that that you prefer, then you're not going to be a great field agent.
Can I tell you a story from yeshiva, really quick?
Tales from yeshiva.
It's not even from yeshiva. It's from my yeshiva days. Remember the book, A Garden of Peace, by Rabbi Shalom Arush? Did you ever read the book? Okay. In the book, it's written by Rabbi Shalom Arush. He's a Breslov Baal Teshuva, translated by Rabbi Eliezer Brody. The book, if you go into the book, it basically talks about how, a wife is only her behavior and who she is a reflection of her husband. So if your wife is behaving like such and such towards you, basically like a bitch, then it must be you are the problem, right? And so
I don't know about that.
No. So listen. So I mentioned this to a guy. I remember in my yeshiva, and the guy says, "Yeah, that could be, or it could be she's just a bitch."
Exactly. It all depends on how she started out.
Yeah. How do you discern? That's no. But the point is, no. In the book, he even says, even if she started out that way, that's who you merited because of your da-da-da-da-da, and that's your tikkun,
right.
And da-da-da-da-da, and then this whole self, like what I was mentioning to you before, the whole self-flagellation track. And what if she's just a bitch and you don't deserve it?
Dude, on a certain level, that does kind of make sense because we both know guys who are dating horrific hell beasts of bitches, okay?
Yeah.
And everybody saw it, and even they themselves saw it, and if everybody saw it from a mile away, and they still ended up with these. Then obviously, they, on a subconscious level, they chose that.
Yes, their neshama chose
for a reason.
Yeah, correct. For some sort of tikkun to correct something, and then they get divorced. Whatever, they have kids, and they're
right. Even if they're not conscious of it.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Blad, Zora, what is deal? Why are you back with her again?" Right? And then he bows his head in shame. It's like as if he can't control. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that guy. Remember City Slickers?
Yeah.
Remember Daniel Stern?
Yeah.
His character.
Yeah.
That white. Everybody's like, he's like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? He seems like a normal guy otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? And then he ended up having an affair with Lisa Simpson, or the voice of the voice that plays. Yeah. Remember that lady?
Yeah.
Right. So that's who we're talking about here.
Yeah. Lisa Simpson, another overactive neshama.
Yeah, the Jewish girls are like Lisa Simpson.
Has to be involved in flipping everything. I want to do this, and women should be allowed, or should be allowed nowhere. Slap.
Dude, do you know? Like honestly, Jewish women are like the power of change in the world. Like
I know.
There would be no change in the world without Jewish women.
Yeah, I mean you had
but sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes the change is awful.
Yeah,
it's not a good change.
Yeah.
It needs to be. Regardless, they are the power of change.
They're behind
one way or the other.
Behind the Sleeve of Wizard March. With Linda Sarsour.
One second. Good night, my love.
So, let's wrap. In the words of.
I mean, this whole podcast went to shit.
No,
we're going to talk about
it didn't actually.
things.
It went actually a good place, because it does relate to what we were talking about in the sense of, Hashem basically being supposedly having stuff together and yet need somebody to share it with, right? So we're talking about, we're it's like, well, at least I'm in this conversation looking for somebody to share X, Y, and Z with, when in a situation where it may be of, not, I don't want to say detriment, but I may be getting myself into something that is going to bring me, how should I put this? I would like to think that it would bring me peace, but it may not.
You're not here for peace, brother.
I know that. Contrary to what our friend Patrice would say, and others like him.
Yeah, that's where he went wrong. He didn't understand.
He didn't go wrong. He's just a simple guy. He doesn't know anything else besides what he knows. He's a very simple guy. He doesn't want to be. He doesn't think that we're here on this earth to be tortured. And I get it. And he's right. We're not here to be tortured. We're not.
And yet he became the high priest of the man independence movement.
It's not even a man independence movement. It's more of a movement of like, well, here's the situation, and why am I going to get myself into it just because I want love? It's like Sam Kinison. Oh, look, love. You heard me before 7 times, but love, it's new, it's love.
Look, love, come get the love.
And then, whoa, oh. Love, but love. It's
love. What's your name, David? David, have you been married? David, don't get married. You know why, David? Because this is going to be your fucking face when you get married, David. And he like screams directly in his face.
So he knew that. What's his name? Patrice knew that's the end game. So he just was like, let me just cut that off at the seams.
Yeah, look, if marriage is devoid of God, right? If it's not about God, if you're living a life that is centered on self, meaning like that you don't believe that the things that you do in your day, in moment to moment, have any effect on God, or that God wants anything from you, right? Then he's right. Yeah. Then everything he says makes sense.
Well, here's the thing. Okay? Maybe at some point, let's just assume. Let's give Patrice skills he may not have, right? Or sensibilities he may not have. Let's assume, do a thought experiment for 1 second, that Patrice O'Neill thinks that should be the case, that it is something that's connected to God. Maybe then he had such high standards that he never actually met a woman who thought that way. Maybe at some point he subconsciously or even consciously was like, yeah, this is how it's actually supposed to be. I'm supposed to be doing this for God, or for some sort of, kind of a lofty purpose. But I haven't met a woman who thinks that way, meaning both people have to be on board with that, dude. Like, I know somebody, as we speak, a person who, the woman knows that, but the man doesn't. And the woman is trying to speak to the man on that level, but the man is not, it's like speaking Chinese to him. Right? By him, it's all about his thing, and by her, it's, she's trying to do this for Hashem. You know what I'm saying? From the vantage point of the Torah and Hashem. And I'm trying to tell her, like, you're speaking to this guy in Mandarin right now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. It's like crouching tiger, hidden debut.
It sounds funny. Like, you could tell the difference between Cantonese and Mandarin. Yeah. Mandarin's sure. And Cantonese is like, what?
Cantonese is basically the guy screaming to the back of what you just ordered.
Yeah.
And Mandarin is the negotiation between Hunter Biden and whatever his face is.
Yeah, the Chinese, right? Like the Chinese national news, like
yeah. Today in Peking, we ran over 10 people with a tank. But Cantonese is like, you know, you put in an order for fried rice.
There's a lot of wa and ra.
Yeah.
And hu.
Yeah.
And then, but Mandarin's like sha, everything's a sha.
Yeah.
There's shin and everything.
Yeah. As they're floating on top of the trees in the beginning of Crouching Tiger. Did you see the movie?
I saw the movie.
Dude,
with that scary Chinese girl.
I saw that movie high as a kite, and imagine watching the opening scene in that movie.
You know, there's a very romantic moment in that movie.
There's a lot of yeah.
No, to me there's only actually no, you're right, there is. And it had nothing to do with the young girl who creeps me out ever since she was in that movie with Jackie Chan, you know, like Rush Hour. I can't remember, Rush Hour 2? Yeah. Rush Hour. I think it was Rush Hour 2.
Do you understand words that come out of my mouth?
Right. Which one of y'all right? Which one of y'all kicked me?
Which one of y'all kicked me, man? You know this, and you know this, man.
Right. Man, Chris Tucker, that's a funny dude.
That dude,
anyway,
that dude got paid millions of dollars to talk like Michael Jackson got kicked in the nuts.
You know, he did this routine where he said that he was hanging out with Michael Jackson, and then Barry Gibbs came over, and they were like, and they were singing, and then he tried to join in, and then Michael's like, "No, Chris, no,
Chris,
what are you doing? Chris? No, Chris, no, don't do that."
Did you see the South Park one where they made fun of him? He's like, "That's ignorant. That's really ignorant."
That's ignorant.
Where they accuse him of, like, you know, the molesting kid. That's just ignorant. That's ignorant. What are you talking about? You're just being ignorant right now. Ignorant.
Do you remember that scene? Where you know, like Cartman and him were lying in bed next to each other, and they were doing that scene, like you know, like they were getting closer to each other.
Oh my god. Oh, that's terrible.
That was sick.
In light of what's going on now with the Ghislaine, however the hell you pronounce her name, Maxwell thing.
Her freaking name is Ghislaine. Can you believe that?
It's actually Ghislaine.
No, but they call her Ghislaine.
I know,
Maxwell.
and her father was essentially, there's a theory that he was a Mossad agent, Maxwell. That he was rubbed out by the MI6 or something like that. Whatever. He was on a boat and he was drowned.
Could these guys just stop? Like, can they just fucking stop? Anyway, we're getting way off. We're many levels of tangents.
The kids are, man. The kids are. We're doing this for Hashem, and Hashem needs us to do things because there's a. I always thought it was Hashem wanted to do just once. He's unbound to Hesed, so he needs, you know, in order to give Hesed, you need somebody to give Hesed to. You need a receiver of Hesed.
That's part of it.
That was the main thing that I always thought about, as opposed to Hashem needs us to do something for him, this, that.
No, that's not. Those aren't two different things. You're making it sound like they are. They're not.
No, they're not. They're just. I just thought it was one was the primary, the other one was the secondary. I don't know.
They're exactly the same.
Really?
Yep. Okay. He needs it again. We started out. Remember, he needs the other, a true other, to share his perfection with. Yeah. Listen, the ultimate, the deepest level of reality is Ein Od Milvado, right? Yeah. But that's obviously not enough for him.
It's a really cool bumper sticker in Israel.
Ein Od Milvado?
People have that written literally, like, on their windshields, etched, you know, like these, like, if you're driving down the Route 60 in the Shomron, you'll see it etched on people's, like, hatchbacks. It's not even a bumper sticker. It's like an etching in the back of their windshield, forever etched.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Ein Od Milvado. It's like if I ever get into an accident, Hashem caused it. That's the level those people are on, you know? It's amazing.
Yeah, but like that. So that, as true as that is, and that's the deepest level of truth, right? Mm-hmm. obviously God doesn't want to maintain that.
Yeah.
I don't think people ever focus on that part of it.
Yeah.
If that's the truth, how come God doesn't reveal that? Because then the other disappears.
Yeah.
Okay? So he needs a true other that believes. He can't be like Hashem pretending to be another. Like, that's like somebody playing with dolls.
Yeah.
Like a Dark Helmet. He was playing with his dolls. He's like, oh, Lone Star. Oh, he's doing the princess.
Lone Star.
Yeah. Right. Jewish princesses are attracted to men with power, and I have lots of power. Rick Moranis, what a gem that guy is.
That's
God,
right.
Poor guy. He was attacked in New York. Like 2
recently.
Years ago.
Whack.
Caught on camera.
I'll tell you something. Can I tell you something? Sometimes I think it's horrible that he was attacked, but sometimes I feel like it's necessary for a New York Jew.
He's not a New York Jew. He's from Toronto.
Whatever.
And I'm not really sure he's
a white Jew who lives in New York. It's necessary for everyone else in the community to see this, so that they wake.
Yeah, but why him? Why him?
I know. It sucks. It shouldn't have been him. It should have been freaking Larry or Woody. It should have been one of those two clowns. Okay, but everybody has to see what is experienced by the Russian.
They saw. Nobody gives a damn.
No, I know what is experienced by the Russian Jewish kid in Lincoln High School. Okay, every day, or was experienced. I don't know if they still experience it. You know what I'm talking about. And they have to see it, and they have to experience it. More of them have to experience it on the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side, and then maybe they'll wake the flip up.
I don't know what you're talking about. I bullied black kids in high school. Just kidding. Kind of.
Listen, I was in junior high school 303, which is the feeder junior high school of Lincoln, and I got automatic respect on the first day of school because I can I told you this. I pulled a Dennis Rodman over 10 black kids, and I had one of the kids who knew me said, "White boy can jump," and I knew I was never gonna be touched ever again, or ever. I got immediate street cred that day.
You know who deserves cred? There's a kid. I'm not going to name him. I went to junior high school with him.
Yeah.
And we went to Cunningham Junior High.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was like a park right there.
Lord help
where
us.
Many bad things happened.
Wasn't that the feeder junior high of FDR, Federal Drug Reserve?
I don't know. No.
Don't ask me how I know that.
I think people went to like they either went to like Lincoln, Dewey, Sheepshead. I ended up in Sheepshead, or
what, high school? They went to the people that I knew went to Murrow, Midwood, or the 3M gang. The Murrow, Midwood, Madison.
Yeah, Midwood,
Madison,
Midwood.
or Stye.
Oh, Madison, that's right, Madison.
Or the ones that didn't go to those, they took the test for Stye, and they went to Stye.
They went to Stye or Brooklyn Tech,
or Brooklyn Tech, or Lincoln.
The Mark Twain kids.
Well, Mark Twain is I took the test for Mark Twain. I didn't. Whatever. Long story.
I didn't get in.
I didn't get in either.
Same thing. Like, in terms of like, IQ. Like, we have to have a different discussion on that because you mentioned it earlier. But back to the point. In when I was in Cunningham, there was a kid, a Russian Jewish kid, right? Who was he's kind of a prick. He wasn't really a prick to me, though, so I can't really say that. It's like, he was okay. But he was crazy, and I saw him fight 10 black dudes by himself.
Listen, I've seen that.
Until I got there. I saw him, and he was holding his own. Yeah. You understand? This kid's he should be a legend.
Some people are listening to this thinking that this is a racist thing. This has nothing to do with it's like a cultural. We're giving you an image of what was going on at that time.
We're talking about junior high school, like 25 years ago.
You're talking about like 1992, Brooklyn.
94.
Right after the Crown Heights riots, and the years of Dinkins, where he basically came in, and no one else, like, black kids got the gumption to just rob your ass on the street. You know? If you were Russian, you just got
We
your
had
ass
some
robbed.
I gotta be honest. I remember like when after I like left Cunningham, I went to Sheepshead for like a year,
Yeah.
and then I that's when I got interested in being religious. So I went to yeshiva,
Yeah.
and then I ended up in Sinai Academy. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
I know
right?
something.
Rabbi Katzin.
Yeah, Rabbi Katzin. Yeah.
Right. So that's how I really I never really hung out with Russian kids until that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they're definitely not really the kids in Sinai, but by extension, some of their friends that would show up.
Yeah.
Some seriously shady Russian
Yeah, I know.
MFers. Okay,
Yeah, I know.
There's two Georgian kids. Okay, if you could call them kids, they were more like dump trucks. Okay, who like you get into a fight. Like they're always looking for a fight and always looking to rob somebody. Right? They'd rob. Dude, they would rob like a mob boss. These people are crazy. You understand?
They thought because they thought they were in prison, so they have to pay. What they have to do is they have to like show supremacy. They have to find the biggest kid and show supremacy, so that they came from Tbilisi. You know.
Dude, I'm talking about like Jewish kids too.
Yeah, I know.
They're seriously like they would shoot. They would rob anybody. And I remember I saw these guys. We were walking out of the yeshiva, right? And one of the guys I was walking with, he kind of like knew them. He said, "What's up?" And they're like, and then one of them's like, he kind of like gave me a dirty look, and I'm like, "What's up?" And then the kid I was with, he's like, "Come on, man, come on, let me tell you about these guys."
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So if he pulls out,
it's like, давай поговорим.
Right. So he's like, no. So I was saying, like, all right. You say you got a bat, like, I got my little baton over here. He goes, no, don't hit him with that. That'll just make him angry.
Uh-huh.
That reminded me of Mongo from Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
Right.
With the horse.
Because I had seen Blazing Saddles that this kid had, and I'm like, are you doing Blazing Saddles? He's like, "Что?" Like he never saw Blazing Saddles. He's like, remember? He's like, I'm gonna shoot him. He goes, oh, no, don't do that. That'll just make him angry. That's exactly. I was scared. I got scared after he said that, but also I was hysterically laughing.
Up.
I was like, oh, it's like, I got to shoot him in the face with a bazooka. That'll just make him angry. Okay.
Anyway, let's end on that note.
We have achieved nothing in this episode.
Good.
Pure nonsense.
It's always the ones that are most interesting. We did achieve. I think we did.
Can I just say a couple of ideas that I wanted to share?
I mean, we're at 2 hours and 20 minutes right now. I'm just letting you know.
Damn, seriously? All right.
Yeah.
So I never said this about Hanukkah.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. I learned this from Rabbi Wolf, who's reading a mimer.
Yeah.
So when God said, "Let there be light," Adam saw that light, right? For the quote unquote 12 hours that since he was created until Shabbat began. Yeah. But since during that 12 hours he did the thing with the tree, the light was to be withdrawn. Yeah. But God did not withdraw it immediately. He let Adam enjoy the light all through Shabbos, Shabbat, and then right after Shabbat, that light was withdrawn, and the light that we have now was created on day 4. The light of the sun and the stars and the moon and all that kind of stuff. That's our light. That is not the light that God created when God said, "Let there be light." Mm-hmm. That light was withdrawn. Okay, that's the light of Mashiach. Mm-hmm. That light will be returned to the world for during in Olam Haba. Okay, So what's interesting is that the Hanukkah is a bit of that light. Yeah. And it's very interesting that Adam he had enjoyed that light for 36 hours total. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it would be the 12 hours that he was alive during since he was created on Friday, and then the 24 hours of Shabbat. So that's 36 hours, and Hanukkah candles that we light in total. Like we light 36 candles in total throughout the whole Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Right? If you know what I mean, right? Like the first night is one, the second night you light 2 candles, but then when you add them all up, it ends up being 36 candles at the end of the 8 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Not including the shamash.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which is also important. That's a separate. Okay? But each candle that we light on Hanukkah represents one of those hours that Adam had experienced the Or, what we call now is the Or HaGanuz, the light of Mashiach, the hidden light.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that. There's no good segue into it when we're talking about the crap we're talking to. But, and then the other thing was, we started out talking about how we would teach our kids and how we would try to get them to not do things by rote, but to have at least some basic consciousness as to what we're doing. What is this really about? Why is it important? And to show them. So I wanted to add something to that, and I can't remember what it is. But and actually we did touch it. We did touch upon it because a big part of it is the heresy of God needing. We would explain to them as soon as possible that there's something that God is perfect and he doesn't need anything. He to exist in his perfection, but that wasn't enough for him, and he wanted you. And he really wants you to such an extent that it's a need. Yeah. And it's only in your hands to give it to God.
And that's a very difficult thing for people, meaning like when somebody like a Manis Friedman says that, it's very difficult for people to hear, to the point where they accuse him of saying heretical things. When in reality he isn't.
No, he's not. First of all, these are not his original ideas.
No, I know. It's Hasidus, obviously.
This is Hasidus, correct. Yeah. What's amazing, by the way, is, there's a couple of videos that people could look up. Like, you never understood the story of Adam and Chava and the tree until now.
Yeah. There was a recent video that he put out. You thought you knew Adam or something like that. Yeah.
And it's a mix of perspectives given from various Hasidic teachers throughout and I think one of them is like the Meshech Chochmah. Who if I'm getting that right, I hope I am, who puts a completely different view on what happened in the Garden of Eden, that it wasn't a negative thing. Yeah. That when we're reading the text, our eyes and our mind colors it negative.
Well, Rabbi Kessin also gets into that. He says that it's not what we think it is. He has his own take on that.
Yeah, it was a setup. It was a
setup, and we have to go. He basically conveys that we have to. It's a process that we have to go through, and we were gonna go through it no matter what. And Hashem is running a sort of a simulation, and we have to go through it. And that's it. And it's not. It's almost like it couldn't happen any other way. Like because there's also this prevailing idea that like Mashiach could have come at that time and we would have lived in this garden forever, whatever it is. But no.
I want to. Here's one of the things that really bugs me, right? When they talk about that, and on the one hand, that's amazing, but on the other hand, I was driving today, and I was in Boca, actually, and there's a cat that was run over by a car. Yeah. I didn't see it happen, but it was just lying there in the middle of the street. Yeah. And I love my cat so much, you know what I'm saying? And that cat, every cat is cute and adorable, and it was completely innocent. Yeah. And what's worse, that might have been somebody's cat. Yeah. And it's just lying there, and I had to drive back and forth several times that day, and it was just lying there. Yeah. And nobody, something that's so precious, something that's like so important, like nobody. I tried to call 311, but they said there was no hurry.
Can I tell you something crazy? Those are the kind of stories. Those are the kind of things. Whether it's a cat or a human or something or this or that and the other.
I mean, there's no equivalency.
Those
but I'm trying to use a relatively minor example.
No, what I'm saying is those are the kind of things that prove to me that Sodom was a real place. Because that was Sodom. That we have that framework.
Much worse. Yeah. Exactly. So the point is like something that's so precious. It's precious in its own right.
Yeah.
Because, and God creates a situation where it doesn't seem like that thing is ever important to him in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of it. Okay? Simulation, this, simulation, that, I prefer it to be over.
For sure.
This is not. And some of these guys who are teaching these concepts, they're floating in the concepts that they don't understand what the reality looks like and feels like, the real experience on the ground.
I know.
Okay?
I know they don't. Or maybe they do. They just don't want to. It's too much for them to delve into, or.
It's everything, like when the rabbis, when they talk about concepts and they talk about ideas, it's PG-13 when reality is triple X, quadruple X.
I know, but
okay?
They lack the bandwidth to be able to acknowledge that. That's my takeaway from that.
Yeah, like when you hear them talk, it sounds like we're talking about Mr. Rogers when it's actually Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's true.
That's the real it's like, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like walking around pissed all the time, because you want to hear Torah and you want it to match reality.
Well, listen, they don't want to. They the irony is that as much as these are the same rabbis that will talk about Gehenna, if you don't do this, that, and the other, but they won't. I always tell, this is, by the way, this guy. The guy that I was talking about, my friend, he always he relates it, his experience with dating and this. He's like, he goes, I would say, why don't you just go do this and this and this and just like release your tension. And he talks about he always mentioned in vogue like Gehenna. No, I'm like, he never said Gehenna, but I'm like, dude, if you're worried about Gehenna, you're already in it. Gehenna's here on earth, man. I always kind of, said that tongue in cheek.
Dude, don't mess with that guy and his mentality.
No, I'm not messing with his mentality, but you understand what I'm saying, right? Like,
can you do an impression? I'd like to do an impression of Rabbi Mizrahi right now, but I'm terrible at impressions. So just do it for me, okay?
You will get these people, if they only knew, they would get that they are about to get the shock of their life. When they will see
nothing without fear.
What Gehenna, they see what Gehenna is, the amount of heat that is there, they never felt in their life, and they never will. They will get the shock of their life. Why? Because we are the dumbest nation on earth. He's talking about like Israel. He's talking about Israel, like the Israeli government doing something stupid. He's like, why? Because we are the dumbest nation on earth.
Well, he's not wrong about that.
Gehenna.
The thing is, he's telling people that Gehenna is actual fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's obvious. That's clearly a lie. Okay, but he's using it to scare the hell out of people.
Yeah, he's using it.
Otherwise, he's sinning.
Because he's talking to Bukharians and Persians in Queens and Great Neck. That's who he's talking to. And in order to get, no offense to any Bukharians and Persians listening, but in order to get you guys to do mitzvot, you have to scare the crap out of you. You have a Bukharian guy.
But the thing is, instead of teaching that bullshit, the truth can also be very, 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 very scary.
Yeah.
Scary enough.
Yeah, but they already live in a scary reality, which they think is normal. Like eating pork and screwing over somebody in business. That's why Mizrahi has to come along and say, you ever been to 47th Street? You see how these people treat each other in business? And do you know what the punishment is? What'd you say?
I have a mushal which I think is better and more and closer to the reality of the pain of Gehenna than what he's telling people.
Okay.
which is a horrible thing, by the way, telling people that they're going to burn.
Okay.
You understand you know how horrible burning is?
Yes.
And like, it sickens me at all that such a thing exists at all.
Yeah.
But at least it's only in this world. Okay? I mean, you know, he wants to spread it out, burning for eternity. So the reality is like this. This is a little bit closer. Now imagine summer is approaching. People can relate to this, okay?
Yeah.
And so everybody, and then, you know, everybody gets to the beach and you see everybody's kind of like in shape, right? Everybody, like their skin, you know, is even toned and everybody's like in shape. And then you look at yourself, you got like freaking warts and freckles all over the place, got hair, you're fat, everything's hanging off.
Yeah.
And then you see your friends who are hanging out with these beautiful girls, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like they fit. And then you realize you don't belong there.
Yeah.
It's that all this loveliness that you want to be involved with is not for you.
Yeah.
You are a fat sack of shit who you have sinned. You've turned yourself into this creature, this unlovable creature. Okay?
Are you describing being Baltruva?
No, not at all. I'm describing the experience of hell. Okay? I'm saying that your sin was that you did not realize where you were headed or the situation that you were going to be in, and you didn't realize how amazing it could have been. And then when you see how far away you are from being able to enjoy that, the shame of that, the burning shame of that is so painful that it feels like fire.
Yeah.
Okay, that's closer to what Gehenna is.
Yeah.
Than telling people they're going to be burned.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've heard the idea of it's like being naked in Times Square kind of thing.
Okay, it's the shame of not of being like not belonging.
Yeah.
You understand? Everybody goes to the same place.
Yeah.
There is no Gan Eden and Gehenna are the same place.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you show up to the ball, right, to the gala, whatever the hell they call it, right? Everybody looks beautiful. Their tux is perfect, right?
Yeah.
And you show up, you know, wearing a torn potato sack because you didn't get your tux ready for the big event. What are you going to look like?
Yeah.
Right? Another way, here's actually something about Tshuva can relate to. This is funny. If you're a Balchuvish guy and your friends are Russians who go to restaurants and they keep inviting you to their birthday parties and like, don't worry about it. We'll set up, we'll bring you special kosher food.
Yeah.
And then they bring it out to you in some styrofoam.
And it tastes like crap.
And it doesn't, forget about the taste. It's like
just
the
looks
way
ridiculous.
that it looks. It's like you're the one goofy fool who's brought out this food.
And you look like you're eating airplane food.
Right. Well, everybody is like, you know, with their francuski stol, you know, with their francuski,
Shvedsky stol,
yeah. So, you know, and then you're sitting there with your stupid little plastic fork, right? The shame, you know, and I try to tell him, I was like, motherfucker, you bring that thing out to me, you're going to be wearing it. I'm not coming to your stupid, I'm not coming out to your stupid party to eat food. I just had Shabbos. I was eating all day. I came there to gawk at broads and to get drunk.
And to get shots of vodka with you. And eat some fruit afterwards.
I'm coming there to get drunk.
I want some pickled watermelon, goddammit.
I want some no pickled watermelon, but I want some pickled. I want to forget that I'm religious and just hook up with one of these, like, you know,
Tancershи.
Russian broads.
No, the dancers, the girls who are like the show.
Whatever, the showgirl. Oh man, I had a show.
But they're not showgirls. They're like Tancershi. They're like.
I had my bar mitzvah at Rasputin.
I had my bar mitzvah at National. Oh Lord, help me! Oh Lord, help me! Help us all!
My brother had his bar mitzvah at Odessa.
Dude, you know what I had at my bar mitzvah? Ice sculpture with shrimp inside, and pork shish kebabs.
Dude, they brought out, and I you know, sometimes I don't know if this memory was implanted into my head by someone or this is hyperbole. It's very possible they brought out a pig with an apple in its mouth.
Dude, no, mine didn't. But dude, this is April, because my birthday was December 93, but my bar mitzvah actually happened April 94. Remember we were talking about the Rangers? The Rangers won the cup 2 months after that, and guess who partied in National? Mark Messier, Kovalev, and Nemchinov. They took those the idiot Canadians to National, and they got them. There's pictures in on the first floor of the the foyer that they have there of Messier, Leach, Kovalev, Zubov, and Nemchinov drunk as a skunk.
I can imagine Adam Graves.
Falling
down the stairs on the way to the bathroom.
He's like Anne Bunny falling down the stairs.
He's like, oh
Jesus! They just won the Stanley Cup, and those guys got bled. And you know what's funny? Everybody used to call Brian Leach alcoholic because he kind of looked like one. And as it was.
Dude, can you imagine taking Ty Domi to a Russian restaurant?
Oh my God!
There's gonna be a riot.
Dude, he actually was not on the TV. Whatever, they had a Koser, the other guy.
I'm just saying he was like so. Or Jeff Bukaboom, I think he's a little bit more.
He was there also. I think I think most of the team was there. They you could see the pictures. They were. Oh my God!
You know who they should take? They should take Joe Koser, Ty Domi, Jeff Bukaboom, and Anthony Mason to a Russian restaurant and watch the world explode.
Dude, Anthony Mason passed away, bro. You know that, right?
I know that. I mean,
oh my God.
I mean, I gotta say, the world is less interesting without Anthony Mason.
So I had my bar mitzvah there. Like, and it was just, honestly, it was magical. All I remember is just playing Manhunt the entire time. The adults did whatever the hell they did. I played Manhunt for like 4 hours.
Dude, me and my friends would jump on the stairs in National all the way from the top all the way down and not get hurt.
I know.
You understand?
I know. I did that too.
Would be dead.
I know. And at the end of the night, this is like already 1:30 in the morning. This, like my aunt's brother, my dad's brother's wife's brother, this really semi-obese guy, stepped on my foot. He was so drunk, and he stepped on my foot, and I couldn't walk. This is like 1:30 in the morning, and we're supposed to go home already. We actually already lived in Jersey. We had to drive home to Jersey that night, and my mother was like, she wanted me to carry stuff, like food, whatever it was. I couldn't walk. And she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, он меня ступил на ногу. Кто? And she's like, oh my God. And she looked at him and she's like, oh my God. And then mom was like, что ты хочешь, но он пьяный? I'm like, well, he's drunk. I'm like, how's that my problem? The guy, and I was initiated into manhood by this obese family member stepping on my foot.
Yes, I was initiated into manhood at my father. By the way, I love this guy. He was just a little drunk, and we're in his backyard in Long Island, and I was in the pool, and he was drunk. He went on the slide, and he slid right into my 8-year-old face.
Oh,
a giant Russian man with his foot healed me right in the face.
Shit.
Right? Drunk. He was drunk as a skunk, and I understood what it's like to be around a drunk Russian when you're 8. Dude, you're not gonna make it.
Dude, every one of these, dude, you understand something? Every one of these restaurants had the same motif, the tancershi, the show. And then they had, but I'll say at that time, they had amazing rock bands that played Hotel California better than the Eagles themselves. They used to play the Beatles and Hotel California and all kinds of stuff. This is before like Verka Serdyuchka, Musi Pusi, Shokoladny Zayats, Chocolate Bunny, whatever the fuck. they used to have these
Dude.
legit rock bands who played amazing solos.
When I heard Moosey Pussy, if I had a blow up the world button, it would have happened.
Anyway, we're gonna end off on that.
Dude, listen. The point is that Gehenna is like being a really out of shape fat dude with giant freckles,
Yeah.
right? Massive love handles, while everybody else around you is like lean, six-pack, and smooth, even features, and the broads are just all...
And eating shrimp cocktail out of the thing from National.
I don't know about the shrimp cocktail because shrimp disgusts me.
I'm just saying, if you're into that sort of thing.
Yes, but my point is, like, when you realize that you're in a wonderful place and you don't belong there because you stink. That's what hell is. And that's, and that's the burning shame of hell. That's essentially what it is. But remember, hell and heaven are the same place. It depends on you, who you are when you show up there, what your experience of it is going to be. That's not my stuff. I'm not telling people.
In the words of Belinda Carlisle, heaven is a place on earth. Baby, do you know what that's worth? Ooh, heaven. It's a place on earth.
It is not. Belinda Carlisle is wrong. That broad is
It was
wrong.
the first ever American song, a song that I heard in America. Okay, don't ruin it for me. I was 6 years old.
Ooh, heaven is a place. Is that right?
Baby, do you know what that's worth? Baby, do you know? They say in heaven, love comes first. Ooh, baby, it's a place on earth. It's amazing lyrics, right?
It's catchy, but it's not true.
She would talk about Smokestack, man. Belinda Carlisle. Yo.
Yeah.
In the words of Black Rob, like whoa. Like whoa. Remember Black Rob?
I remember Black Rob, obviously. Was he part of Annie Up? Was he one of the dudes?
I have no idea. I just know that video had every black person in Staten Island.
Annie.
That music video had every black guy in Staten Island.
You know the song Annie Up, right?
I don't remember.
You know, dude, look up Annie Up, Bert and Ernie.
Ante Up?
All right?
Like A-N-T-E?
Annie, yeah, A-N-T-E,
Uh-huh.
Up. Look up and then type Bert and Ernie.
Okay.
And you will enjoy.
I'll look it up afterwards.
Earth will feel like heaven for a few moments. All right, Bug. Let's.
All right.
Yo, I want to hear this.
It's like, been 2 hours and 45 minutes. This is crazy.
I will listen to it again.
Yeah.
Even with my lispy Daffy Duck, lispy.
You're despicable.
I am despicable.
Listen, at least your mouth is not in the back of your head right now. Like...
It is not in the back of my head, and I'm grateful for that.
Right.
Otherwise, I'd have to chew like this,
Exactly, and the BITCA chew like this. You got a mother got a kickstand with a wooden leg. But you're wrong.
Your mother got a kickstand. Your mother got a glass eye with a fish in it.
Oh my God, where's that from?
That's from The Far Side.
Oh,
that's from this album, one of the greatest, possibly the greatest rap album, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. Remember that song? She keeps passing me by.
Yeah.
She keeps passing. That it's the same album as that. That's all right, man.
All right, it's been real.
Take care, brother.
All right, later.